In Utah, they're asking people to stay out of slot canyons until the monsoonal moisture goes away.
A Roy neighborhood is trying to deal with the aftermath of an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. KSL TV's Brianna Chavez spoke to people who live next to where police surrounded the home.
Neighbors say it's a miracle no one else was caught in the crossfire.
I don't know the whole situation, but somebody else could have gotten hurt. 20-plus shots is insane.
The condition of the man who was shot is still unknown this morning, and we are waiting for Roy Police to give us more details on what led to the shooting. The officers who fired the shots are on administrative leave. The Weber County Critical Incident Task Force will now lead the investigation.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The Democratic National Convention kicks off today in Chicago, just weeks after President Biden ended his campaign and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. The Trump campaign is doing counter-programming, hitting key states.
With Harris at the convention this week, Trump is set to barnstorm swing states with stops in Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona.
ABC's Jacqueline Lee says President Biden will be the keynote speaker tonight in Chicago, symbolically handing off the torch to Harris.
The Harris-Walz ticket appears to be invigorating younger Democratic voters.
Hours from the start of the DNC, new polls showing Vice President Kamala Harris transforming the 2024 election dynamic. Voter Ed Friel telling me he was on the fence about Harris, but she won him over.
Then as I started listening to her and following her, I thought, this woman is going to be good for this country.
Harris now with a 6-point lead nationwide among likely voters. But on the top issues in this race, our poll shows former President Donald Trump leading Harris by 10 points on immigration and 9 points on the economy and inflation.
ABC's Mary Alice Parks reporting.
Protesters have also been gathering in Chicago. Various groups are calling for Democrats to make changes in their stance towards the war in Gaza. They also want a big focus this week to be on reproductive rights.
First look traffic now on a Monday morning, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
We've got a crash on the ramp from I-80 to Highway 40 over by Park City right now that's affecting drivers. Looks like the ramp closed, at least initially. Looks good on the freeways in the Salt Lake Valley, at least so far. And as we get things started on this Monday, we'll see what kind of traffic flows we have today. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Wildlife officials are letting Utahns get up close and personal with bats. Carla Fa attended the capture night on Friday, hosted by the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources.
I didn't know that bats were cute and adorable, and there were so many things. I thought that bats were blind. I learned that they're not. It was just a very empowering, informative session. I'm glad I came.
They may be adorable, but you don't want to play with them. Second bat capture night is planned for later this week at Utah's Mammoth Cave.
A band from Orem is raising awareness about addiction as it advances in the Rolling Stones American Hitmaker contest. Tyler Gould is the lead singer of the Tyler Gould's Band.
There is a donation portion of the contest that people can donate to get more votes for bands, and all the money accrued from that is going to a foundation called Music Cares.
Gould says voting for the quarterfinals ends Thursday, and they're currently in third place.
Aliens and superheroes led the way at the box office.
This weekend at the box office, Disney lost its top spot to another film under the Disney banner.
This place gives me the creeps.
Deadpool and Wolverine dropped to second place, while Alien Romulus took a huge bite out of the box office with $41 million. That was one of the best openings of the 45-year-old Alien franchise. Not bad for a movie originally planned as a streaming exclusive on Hulu.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever.
Marvel's R-rated superhero film settled for number 2, still clawing out $29 million. One of the biggest hits of 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine broke the record this week as the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time.
We break the pattern. Or the pattern breaks us.
It Ends With Us had to settle for third place with $24 million. I'm Kevin Carr.
And coming up in just a moment on KSL, I think we're off to a quiet to start this morning. That's good to start the commute this early. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Listen to KSL for news to get exactly what you want.
Stories about what's going to affect me.
Traffic. If I want to know now, I'll go to KSL Radio.
Hear the important stories, the stories that affect you.
On KSL News Radio. Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PCLaptops.com. I've been advertising with KSL Radio for decades now, and radio works. With all the clutter on social media, radio cuts through all the noise and gets directly into your customer's brain. If you're a small business and want to reach the local audience here in Salt Lake City, KSL Radio is the way to go.
If you'd like to know more about the benefits of advertising with KSL News Radio, email Stephanie Palmer at spalmer@ksl.com.
Tim and Amanda.
One of the things I love about radio is that we are all hearing it at the same time. One of the differences between that and just scrolling on your phone is that I don't know when that story was posted, maybe an hour ago, maybe 3 days ago.
To your point about who wrote it, where did it come from, and is it dated information, our hope every day is that we can provide a more broad spectrum of information on a single topic that you can then take and make decisions on your own.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Boy, it was weather over the weekend making headlines again. We got quite a bit of precipitation in our neighborhood on Saturday, but hardly a drop yesterday. We'll continue to follow any storms that may be headed your way coming up throughout the morning. KSL News Time now, 5:09. Time for a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by St. Clair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. I don't think there's any weather to deal with so far, Andy, is there?
I haven't seen any, and it looks pretty good. In fact, they've reopened the closure of Bangerter from the weekend. If you remember, it was closed in Riverton and down around the curve by Harriman. It is open now. I'm watching traffic go in both directions. Traffic on I-15 off to a good start from Draper to downtown. It's just a little bit busy on State Street in Murray coming up on 5300 South. Heather?
It's also a good start to the drive in Weber and Davis counties. No delays right now on I-15 US 89 Legacy Parkway. Looks like we already have a fair amount of people trying to get into Hill Air Force Base, mostly at the South Gate in Layton, but a few cars at the West Gate as well. Eric?
We got one crash if you're coming into the Park City area on I-80. Actually, this is the opposite direction. If you're eastbound, going through Park City past the Kimball Junction exit, looks like we've got a crash on the off-ramp to US 40. And if you continue southbound, normally there, you're going to have to find a different way to get to that area. Probably just going to have to go through the heart of Park City itself. I-15 in Utah County, northbound, southbound, that's looking good to start things off. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Monsoon moisture still in place today. We'll go for scattered thunderstorms by afternoon and evening, high of only 91. Overnight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 70. Into Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 96, but a slight chance for storms in the mountains. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Matt said low of 70, and there we are, 70 degrees now in downtown Salt Lake City.
So the Democratic Convention gets underway today.
Yeah, the protesting's already underway in Chicago.
Protesting, yeah, we expected that.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the latest polls between the presumptive nominee, Kamala Harris, and former President Trump coming up in a moment on KSL.
Stay right there. You'll always find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
I'm author Richard Paul Evans, founder of the Christmas Box International. Thank you, Utah, for giving so much to help our most vulnerable children, kids who have been abused, neglected, and trafficked. But the Christmas Box House isn't just for Christmas. We help children 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and your help makes that possible. Right now, our kids could really use new tennis shoes and Visa gift cards. If you'd like to help, please go to thechristmasbox.org or Google us. Thank you.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. Our goal every day on Inside Sources is to help you divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense in your world. We have conversations with great thinkers, with great leaders, and great people who are just out there making a difference in the world. Now, we do talk about politics, but only so we can discuss society and culture. And then we explore society and culture so we can discuss principles and the people in America and the state of Utah who actually live them and apply them every day. We bring the best and brightest minds to the state of Utah, and we love to take the Utah model and send it out to our nation's capital and beyond. Every day on Inside Sources, you'll be part of that conversation. To help you understand things in a different way, we'll get you to think again about what you think you know, but most important, we're going to help you have confidence to have crucial conversations in your community and in your own home.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
KSL News Time, 5:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah lawmakers have been talking about potentially holding a special session this week, which could focus on at least one major decision recently made by the state Supreme Court. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, a man died and 2 others were injured after lightning hit a fishing boat on the Bear River.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
So far, so good. On I-15, we've got the construction closure from the weekend of Bangerter down in Riverton open, and we've got a crash on the ramp from eastbound 80 to go south on US 40. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered pop-up monsoon thunderstorms today, then a dry stretch. I'm Matt Johnson.
69 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
We're going to be following the Democratic National Convention throughout the day today. Let's get the very latest from ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Democratic National Convention kicks off today in Chicago. 50,000 visitors expected in the Windy City. Tonight, President Biden will deliver the keynote address. On Thursday, Kamala Harris accepts the nomination, while outside the convention center, protests are taking place. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Increasingly, the domestic terrorist weapon of choice has been a car or truck driven into a crowd of people. The Chicago police are well aware of that. This large-scale demonstration has been confined to an area bounded by downtown skyscrapers on one side, the Chicago River on the other. At either end, dump trucks have been parked to prevent anyone from driving into the crowd. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Chicago.
Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz stopping in Pennsylvania on a bus tour on their way to Chicago. Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance will also be in Pennsylvania today. They have rallies on opposite ends of the state. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Tel Aviv has been meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The focus of my visit is intensely on getting the hostages back, getting the ceasefire done.
This is Blinken's 9th trip to the region since October 7th. Ukraine's president insisting the recent incursion into Russian territory is to create a buffer zone between the countries. ABC's Patrick Revels in Kyiv.
Ukraine with another damaging strike inside Russia. Ukrainian aircraft blowing a gaping hole in a second bridge over the River Siem in Russia's Kursk region. Just 2 days ago, a strike taking out a separate bridge on the same river. The bridge's destruction means hundreds of Russian troops are now increasingly at risk of being cut off, according to military analysts. Nearly 2 weeks into the attack, Ukraine is still seeking to widen its area of control.
Tropical storm Ernesto is strengthening. It's back into a Category 1 hurricane as it plows up northward in the Atlantic. You're listening to ABC News.
Former President Donald Trump trailing Vice President Kamala Harris, according to a new poll.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy joins us live. Tell us about this poll, Stephen.
Well, good morning, Amanda and Tim. This ABC News Washington Post Ipsos survey has Harris ahead going into the Democratic National Convention. 5-point lead among all adults, a 6-point lead among likely voters. The all adults score is important because at this relatively early stage still, many Americans can still register to vote. So What does this poll indicate? It indicates a wide swing in views such as who is the candidate who has the physical health to effectively serve as president. In July, a month ago, when it was Trump versus Biden, Trump had a 31-point advantage on physical health. And now Kamala Harris has a 30-point advantage over Trump on that score. So that's a 60-point swing. On mental sharpness a month ago, Trump was ahead by 30 points. Now it's Harris by 9. So Americans' views of the race have completely changed. On issues that are most important to Americans, the economy and inflation, crime and safety, immigration, Trump has the advantage here. He's trusted more on how to handle some of these issues. Kamala Harris has the advantage on issues such as health care, protecting democracy, abortion rights. Those are issues, of course, of top concern as well. The two candidates are evenly matched when it comes to enthusiasm among their respective bases. 60% of Democrats say they're extremely enthusiastic about Harris. The same number say they're enthusiastic about Trump on the Republican side. So it really is going to come down to who has the larger apparatus, who can more effectively turn out their voters, unless, Kamala Harris were to somehow falter. We expect, and you might expect, all political analysts would, that she'll have some sort of bounce coming out of the convention this week. And going forward, it's just a matter of how she performs when engaging, it seems, with journalists and in the debates that will take place the first on September 10th here on ABC.
It is interesting, Stephen, when you take a look at the economy, inflation, immigration. Those are the top three for voters, and yet she leads in your poll.
And among independents, too. I mean, a month ago, there was a 4-point advantage for Trump, and now there's an 11-point advantage for Harris, a 15-point swing among independents. And independents, we're told, have gone with the winner in 9 of the last 12 presidential elections. So where independents go is a key leading indicator.
How much of a bump does she anticipate getting, or do people anticipate her getting?
Well, I mean, look, you have to talk to polling historians, and despite the fact that I just cited some polling history, I'm not exactly the expert in this, but I would say that it would not be surprising to see a slight bump. Now, one thing you could argue is that views on Trump amongst Republicans are fixed and hard fast in the main. And so the question is, when it comes to people who might be persuadable or in the middle, whether the Democrats are going to be able to put on a show this week that convinces a small number of Republicans to break away from Trump and choose Harris. We'll see, but I imagine that taking account of the advantage that she already has as a function of the positive attention she's gotten and the enthusiasm that Democrats now are expressing, you might see a small single-digit bump coming out of this week.
All right, Stephen, thanks as always for your coverage this morning. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent. We'll of course, have more on the convention that's coming up tonight. It's a Harris convention, but tonight will be very much a Joe Biden night.
Oh, is he speaking tonight?
He's the keynote speaker tonight,
wow.
And they've already leaked out some of the video that will take a look back at his political history.
So it'll be a thank you to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't already known to people, he'll be making the official torch handoff tonight to Kamala Harris. So we'll be covering that, of course, tomorrow morning. But I have more coverage for you throughout the day today on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
Let's get another look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County off to a quiet start on the freeways. I-15 and 215 are delay-free. Bangor only seeing traffic waiting a little bit around 4100 South at that one intersection in West Valley. So far, so good on the 21st South Freeway. Heather?
No delays in Weber and Davis counties. We've got good speeds if you're on I-84 through the mountains to and from Morgan. Also less than 30 minutes from Ogden to Salt Lake if you stick with I-15, but no problems getting to the airport using Legacy Parkway in the West Side Belt. Eric?
Southbound US 40 at Silver Creek, right underneath I-80, you've got a crash that looks like it's pretty severely limiting traffic. No traffic going through on the southbound side, and we do have congestion for the off-ramp if you're westbound I-80 trying to go onto US 40 there. Through the mountains, though, we've got pretty decent movement on the eastbound side. Westbound side, we do have a little bit of slow-moving vehicles up over the top of Parley Summit. Down Utah County, no trouble so far from Provo to Lehigh. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, starting out with some pop-up storms for today, 91 the high. For tomorrow, 96, partly cloudy. We'll go mostly sunny, 95 on your Wednesday. Thursday, mostly sunny, 92. We drop off Friday to 90 degrees, breezy, and a chance for storms. We keep scattered storms in the forecast on Saturday, breezy, 83. We fall to 81 for a high on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 69 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I always see stories on the KSL News Radio app that I missed other places. Missed them on the radio, didn't see them on television or scrolling social media. And there is one that I was just reading about, the new principal at Viewmont Elementary, which is in the Murray District. And I think the Murray District goes back today. Canyons and Murray, I think, go back today. But it's a great story about how this woman, it's her first year as principal, and she's focusing on trying to include some of her special needs students in with things like PE and other things where maybe they've been sidelined.
That's
before.
great.
Yeah, you'll always find stories to scroll, or you can listen to any of the KSL News Radio shows in podcast form, so it's on demand, plus a lot of other podcasts. Just download the app today. It's KSL News Radio's app.
KSL News Time, 5:23.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken nuggets and tenders are being recalled after customers reported finding metal wire inside of them. Purdue Foods is offering full refunds to customers affected by the recall. No injuries have been reported so far.
Young Americans having a hard time being optimistic about their economic futures. 2/3 of Americans aged 18 to 34 say a top issue this election is the cost of living. That's according to an Ipsos poll.
Egg prices are rising again. They are 19.1% more expensive than they were this time last year. It is the third straight month they went up, according to Consumer Price Index.
All right, let's take a look at the futures markets here to start the day. Pretty flat, actually. The Dow is off, but just 4 points. The S&P is up, but less than 3, and the NASDAQ is also in the green this morning by about 10.5.
How was your weekend, Tim?
It was good.
Good weekend?
Yeah.
You get outside and enjoy the sunshine and the rain, I guess.
I mowed the lawn in 2 different sessions because of the rain.
Yeah.
So I mowed it for as long as I could and then finished up the rest the next day.
God, I saw some of that video of the flooding that people had experienced. It just blew me away.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it was Saratoga Springs somewhere, and this wasn't from the Saturday or Sunday storm. This was actually leading into the weekend, but did you see the video somebody took of the basement window?
Yes. Crashing in, the water flowing in. Oh, that was in Orem. Oh, thank you, Randall.
In Orem. But you can hear the people in the background, somebody saying, get out of here, because that window's going to break. And sure enough.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
It just rushed in as the window well got filled up with water.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff. And we may have a repeat performance today. Fingers crossed we don't, but we're going to try and pinpoint where the threat is anyway as we check your traffic and weather together.
We do have one crash on US 40 right underneath I-80 at Silver Creek. That's limiting southbound traffic there. We'll check that when we check traffic and weather next.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, They really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Boyd Matheson. Listening to Inside Sources is a little different from just reading the headlines because we're always going to get you into that think again moment. We have experts from around the country, across the world, and right here local to home that'll help us dive in and get past just the hype, the fluff, the fake fights, and the false choice so we can get into the news to help you connect the dots and make the news make sense.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
The Democratic National Convention.
Already, I'm happy to know that we have enough delegates to secure the nomination.
What are the party's plans to move the country forward? Get full coverage mornings and afternoons and join the conversation middays. The Democratic National Convention this week on KSL News Radio.
529 means traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. We off to a good start, Andy?
We are in Salt Lake County. No crashes, no leftover closures from the weekend. Everything's open, and so far so good if you're on the freeway I-15 from Draper to downtown. Haven't seen any slowdowns on the 201 freeway or Bangerter Highway. State a little bit heavy in South Salt Lake going up towards I-80 and then up towards the 21st South intersection. Heather?
We do have a texter letting us know there's a crash in Far West. It's on 2700 North. You may want to use caution in the area. People may be getting diverted as well. But once you get onto I-15, we haven't seen any problems right now heading southbound all the way into downtown Salt Lake City. You're also going to have a good commute if you stick with US 89 or Legacy Parkway. Eric?
In Utah County, I-15 is moving along at a pretty good rate of speed from Provo to Point of the Mountain. That's a 20-minute drive. Along the Wasatch Bank, you got one crash. If you're westbound on I-80, it looks like you're not going to be able to go south on US 40. That's where the crash is. It's southbound right underneath I-80. This is in the Silver Creek exit, if you're wondering the exact location. If you're eastbound on I-80, there is some slowing going up from Jeremy Ranch up over the top of Parley Summit. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that forecast today. We do have a 30% chance of thunderstorms, so we'll watch out for that. The high will be around 91. We get up to 96 tomorrow, and it clears out a little bit. And then the next chance of rain looks like it's coming back around end of the week, Friday into Saturday. Right now, it's 69 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
Another huge group of kids are headed back to school today.
Today, kids in the Wasatch and Canyon school districts are headed back to the classroom. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more. Adam?
Amanda, in just Canyons, more than 30,000 kids will be going back to school this morning. Today's actually the first day that kids will be attending Union Middle School, which district spokesperson Jeff Haney told me was just barely not ready in time for the school year last year. But kids this morning are starting to even file in even this early to the new middle school. And Jeff Haney also told me that this is the first year that the kindergarten students in the district are going to be starting the same day as the other kids, K through 12. He says a big goal for them this year is something that we've been problem we've been seeing nationwide is they really want to tackle and combat chronic absenteeism, making sure they're getting kids in school. Believe it or not, this is already the 16th school year for the Canyon School District since they were created. Live Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Back to school means teachers are often spending their own money to equip their classrooms. American Federation of Teachers Utah President Brad Acey says classroom supplies are at the bottom of the list for school funds.
Improvements on buildings, there's programs, there's computers, there's equipment that needs to be paid for. For basic needs, it pretty much trickles out by the time it makes it down.
He says the good news is this year's teachers were given a larger reimbursement than last year's, or than most years. Other years, Acey says he's known many teachers who spend hundreds and even up to $1,000 on basic classroom supplies.
Utah teachers will soon be required to wear panic alert devices so they are better prepared in case of emergencies. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has more on the Weber School District's rollout of the plan.
A state law went into effect earlier this year.
Every teacher in every classroom have a wearable panic alert device. Purpose of that device is if there was something happening, they could activate that and get help on the way.
Lane Finley from the Weber School District says so far about 45% of their 49 schools are equipped with these devices, but they aren't able to roll them out all at once because it's such a huge expense. They run anywhere from around $700,000 to $900,000 per high school. Finley says they're looking to take advantage of as many state and federal grants as possible. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
An elementary school principal in Murray is making sure students with special needs aren't left out as the new school year begins. Here's KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Even though Leah Smith is a brand new principal at Viewmont Elementary in Murray, she's already hearing out parents and taking action.
We're blessed with a big population of students with extensive needs. And last year they weren't really included in a lot of our specials or a lot of our field trips, so we're making that a really big point.
Smith is finding new ways to involve those kids in STEM, PE, and field trips so all students feel included and welcome. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Other Utah school districts are welcoming their kids back to the classroom this week. The Wasatch School District and Murray also have their first day today. Tomorrow, students in Salt Lake, Jordan, Park City, and Morgan districts will head back to school. Kids up in the Cache County School District will head back to school Thursday. And then Box Elder still has until next week to enjoy that summer break.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Joe Biden will be the keynote speaker tonight as the Democrats kick off their national convention. ABC News Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein is there.
Joe Biden is yesterday's news for this party right now, and it's not a mistake that he's being given a prime speaking spot on Monday. Then he goes off on vacation in California. We're going to see Vice President Harris make some appearances throughout the week, including, we're told, during President Biden's speech.
Former President Donald Trump will be spending this week in battleground states looking to offer a counter message and rally support.
First look traffic now on your Monday morning, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
I-15 traffic is moving just fine. We do have a crash, though, on 2700 North in Far West near I-15. It's affecting traffic heading towards the freeway. We've got a little bit of slowing on State near 215 in Murray, and still have the crash on the ramp from I-80 to Highway 40 in Summit County. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thousands of gallons of spilled fuel forced the closure of Spanish Fort Canyon last night. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live. Brianna?
Tim, Sunday afternoon, Highway 6 was closed after a semi rolled over, hitting a Maverick fuel truck and puncturing the tank. Around 6,000 gallons of gas spilled onto the road and flowed down the embankment. The canyon was closed for 5 hours while a hazmat team cleared the wreck. One of the drivers was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So far, we don't know which driver it was. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Many of us will grab a caffeinated beverage this morning. Here's mine right here to help us get out the door. But a new study says too much caffeine can increase the chances of heart disease. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson joins us live. Verl?
Amanda, consistently drinking 400 or more milligrams of caffeine could lead to a higher chance of having those heart problems. Now, researchers from the Zydus Medical College and Hospital in India studied how caffeine from drinks like coffee, tea, sodas, and energy drinks affected heart rate and blood pressure. Now, 400 milligrams of caffeine is equal to about 4 cups of coffee, 10 cans of soda, or 2 energy drinks. They found almost 20% of the people they surveyed drank 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, with women working in business or management roles drinking the most caffeine. Reporting live, Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
The former NFL player at the center of the 2009 Oscar-nominated movie The Blind Side is explaining why he filed a lawsuit against the family who took him in. Michael Orr says his vulnerability at the time allowed the family to take advantage of him. We get details from ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
He alleges the Tuohys took advantage of him, depriving him of millions. At the age of 18, Orr says he thought he was signing adoption papers, but it ended up being a conservatorship, allowing the Tuohys to take advantage of his finances for nearly 20 years.
The Tuohys are denying any wrongdoing.
Coming up in just a moment, we'll get another look at your early morning commute. The freeways are moving well. Normal travel times northbound from Provo, southbound from Ogden into downtown, but we'll check it next on KSL News Radio.
KSL in the palm of your hand.
When the app came out, I knew that I could stream the radio station directly through there.
I just checked there to see if there's anything pertinent.
I regularly use the KSL app.
Get the app for KSL News Radio.
Any hour service is free. Do you know how many devices the average home has? If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for?
Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Attention homeowners considering roof replacement in 2024. Light up your home this August with Master Roofing. Schedule your roof replacement by September 10th and receive a free V-Lux sun tunnel valued at $1,200. Perfect for brightening your bathrooms and hallways. Don't miss out. Visit masterroofingutah.com to schedule your free assessment and claim your free V-Lux sun tunnel. Call 801-383-0072 or visit masterroofingutah.com today. Light up your home with Master Roofing.
Someone asked me, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. More than a dozen. All to keep me connected to my good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting. Xfinity knows the number of devices we connect to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds. For real. Now through September 21st, new customers can get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Plus, get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 monthly value included. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment taxes and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Well, we know that Murray and Canyon school districts are headed back to the classroom today, so we're not done with this back-to-school stuff.
No.
And then more will roll out midweek, so we'll be continuing to bring you coverage, of course, here on KSL News Radio.
5:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County off to a great start. Roads are dry. Construction's reopened. Was closed over the weekend, especially Bangor over in Riverton, so you should be able to use both directions there. And I don't see any slow spots on Mountain View so far this morning from West Jordan all the way to the 21st South Freeway. Heather?
We've got a crash up in far west. This is heading westbound on 2700 North, trying to get to I-15. Now, it involves a semi-truck, which is blocking all lanes of westbound travel, but it does look like traffic is using either the median or possibly the left lane of the eastbound traffic to get around this. It is causing a bit of delay, so you want to allow extra time on your commute trying to get to I-15. Once you hop on the freeway, though, you shouldn't have any problems getting into Salt Lake. Eric?
Well, we still got a crash. It looks like if you're trying to go underneath I-80 southbound on US 40 this morning, that seems to be affecting eastbound traffic from I-80 trying to take the ramp and go south. If you're otherwise, US 40 looks good. If you're northbound from Jordanelle Reservoir up to the freeway and I-80 through the mountains, no problems. SR 36 in Tooele County, that's running at a good speed right now from Tooele through Stansbury up to the freeway. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered afternoon and evening storms are possible today with a high of 91. Overnight, things calm down. We'll go partly cloudy with a low of 70. For your Tuesday, 96, partly cloudy skies, but residual monsoon moisture could allow for a couple of mountain pop-up storms. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it is 70 degrees downtown.
I was reading this morning that Ukrainian forces took out a bridge in the Kursk region.
Third one today.
Oh, really? So third one.
Yeah.
So they're affecting the supply lines to Russian troops in Ukraine.
Yeah, they said they're trying to create a buffer zone where they can effectively keep the Russians at bay, but also keep some of the supplies from coming into the Russians that are already beyond that line. So
we're going to talk more with Tom Rivers, our foreign correspondent, about the latest from that part of the world just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
So I'm a public school teacher, and I'm on my feet all day long. That would be on concrete. The pain would like shoot up my heels and just increased from the bottom of my feet up. Then my back started hurting. So my husband and I were driving, and I went, oh, look, there's a Good Feet store. I'm greeted by this gal named Mercy. That was a perfect name for her. And the cool thing about the Good Feet store is that you're able to try before you buy. I had free fittings. She was able to fit me with special arch supports. And so I walked around in the store. Within 30 minutes, I started sobbing because I had no pain. Well, if your feet are hurting, do something about it. You don't have to grin and bear it. you need to go to the Good Feet store and get some arch supports. I'm Deidre, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how they work for you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 5:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
lightning struck and killed one man and injured two others while they were out night fishing in Box Elder County. I'm KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
Second, the Canyons and Murray school districts are among those welcoming kids back for their first day of school this morning.
Third, we've got a mess on I-215, Andy.
Yep, it's heading north from the 700 North on-ramp over on the west side by the airport, heading up towards Legacy Parkway in Davis County. Right now you got about a half mile of delay and building because middle lanes are blocked. Traffic trying to squeeze by to the right and left. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered storms in the forecast, then we get back to dry weather. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for continuing coverage of the DNC happening in Chicago tonight. Let's go to ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. It is convention week for the Democrats. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz making their way to Chicago by way of Pennsylvania. ABC News political director Rick Klein saying President Biden, who stepped aside for Kamala Harris's campaign, will be delivering the keynote speech tonight.
Joe Biden is yesterday's news for this party right now, and it's not a mistake that he's being given a prime speaking spot on Monday. Then he goes off on vacation in California. We're going to see Vice President Harris make some appearances throughout the week, including, we're told, during President Biden's speech.
There have been protests in Chicago and more are expected throughout the week. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is back in the Middle East. He and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting for about 2.5 hours this morning. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky insisting the recent incursion into Russian territory is to create a buffer zone between the countries. And severe flooding in Connecticut overnight and over the weekend. It's not, however, related to Hurricane Ernesto out in the Atlantic and headed further northward. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth here. Ukrainian soldiers are targeting Russian supply lines as they continue to make their way into the country.
ABC News correspondent Tom Rivers joins us live. Tell us a little bit about those bridges that they took out, Tom.
Yeah, one is said to be a key bridge over the River Seam. Two other smaller bridges are, if you will, different ways around in that area. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's affecting getting munitions from Russia into Ukrainian territory in that part of the world. But it's about 25 miles in length. And like congestion on the freeway, you go down a few more miles, you'll find a different way to get in. But yes, for that specific area, it is affecting the Russian forces.
I was surprised this morning to see in your notes that hundreds of thousands of Russians have been ordered to get out of that area.
Yeah, exactly. And, you think about it, the Russian forces are used basically in that part of the world to move munitions through, and they don't have fortifications. All of that is in Ukraine. So when the Ukrainian forces got in there, there wasn't a whole lot of defense from the basically non-existent Russian forces in that part of the region. So in essence, they've got to reinforce that. That takes time. We'll see what it looks like maybe another week or two down the road.
Is that incursion into Russian territory having an effect on the rest of the war?
Not really. 620-mile front line. Every day, incrementally, Russia is moving forward. And for months and months now, Ukraine has done nothing to change that equation. But this is, certainly distracted Russia. And will they get some forces out of the main theater of conflict to reinforce, or will they get reinforcements from elsewhere in Russia? We don't at this stage know.
They do want to disrupt those supply lines, but Zelensky also said over the weekend that they're trying to create a buffer zone there. Can you explain to us what that means exactly?
Well, in essence, yeah, to disrupt supplies in that area. Initially, a few days ago, he said the idea was to protect Ukrainian villages near the border from shelling. And yesterday, everybody's jumped on it. He said, no, we want a buffer zone. Well, the buffer zone will be there as long as there is a few Russian fighters in that area. And it looks good this week. As I say, though, when more reinforcements get there on the Russian side, that's going to be changing very quickly.
Interesting. We'll follow it continually with your help, Tom. Thank you. Tom Rivers, our foreign correspondent, with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, let's get a look at what's turned out to be a real mess. I-215, I see that some emergency teams are now arriving, but this look brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Blocking at least two lanes there, Andy?
Yeah, they've got the middle lanes blocked and then some emergency vehicles on the right side. So I'm watching traffic go by in the left lane and the right lane around it. But the ones going by on the right have to dodge between emergency vehicles. So probably at some point they're just going to force everybody to the left. Northbound 215 as you go from 700 North up towards Legacy Parkway in Davis County. Bangor getting a little bit slow right now northbound near the 21st South Freeway. Heather?
And we've got a crash in far west. This is heading westbound on 2700 North, approaching I-15. It's actually at Rulon Wright Boulevard. And you've got all the westbound lanes completely closed. Traffic is getting around this crash by using the median, or it actually looks like one of the left lanes of eastbound traffic. So eastbound has reduced travel lanes as well. Once you hop on a freeway, though, you don't have any problems right now on I-15, I-84, or Legacy Parkway. Eric?
In Utah County, we're looking at a steady rate of speed on I-15 northbound from Santaquin all the way to Thanksgiving Point. On Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, no trouble so far. Heading with just a little bit of slowdowns northbound from SR 73 on Mountain View Corridor, but doesn't last too long. You'll go through Redwood Road over onto 2100 North and over to the freeway with minimal difficulties right now. It's the end of summer sale with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms clean starting at $99 plus 20% off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroRes.com and book your appointment today. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast has a nice cooling trend. We'll start with some thunderstorms today, though, scattered in nature, and a high of 91. 96 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, could see a pop-up storm in the mountains. Mostly sunny on Wednesday, 95. 92 mostly sunny Thursday. Friday, returning to the region is a chance for storms, 90 degrees but breezy. We keep winds out of the south on Saturday, 83 the high, chance for storms, then cooler, 81 on Sunday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 69 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
One of the big questions we have going into this week, will there be a special session of the legislature called with several ballot issues and rulings from the Utah Supreme Court?
Yeah, and it all seems to be a fight over power. So do the people get to vote in initiatives that have controlling power, or is it the legislature? And does the Supreme Court get to make the decision about who has power there?
And what does the legislature do to, help define that?
Yeah.
Because at that point, they are making those decisions, aren't they, in the special session? Whether it happens or not is a big question this morning, but if it does happen, you can count on KSL to have continuing coverage of it. Make sure you're listening on your way home each afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock with Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News here on KSL.
Dave and Debbie.
It's impossible to digest and consume all of the news that's now coming at us through either social media or through web pages or through the radio. Pick what is most impactful in your life and focus on that. And that's what Dave and I do every single morning. We pick those issues that are most important to our listeners and we boil it down so it's digestible. It's simple to understand.
I think we're trying to find the essence of the story. You know, you can't be an expert on all things, but that doesn't mean you can't be curious and really find out more and educate yourself and learn the complexities of an issue. But I think all of us start at ground zero on everything. Ask questions, show that curiosity.
And then if you need more research, you can always go to KSLNewsRadio.com and learn more.
Listen for Dave and Dejanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, win tickets to the Utah Symphony and Utah Opera. Choose from Bravo Broadway, Beauty and the Beast in concert, Hansel and Gretel, and so many more. Or win tickets to an upcoming Real Salt Lake home match. We're here for RSL. Plus, honor a teacher on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. What are you waiting for? Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Watching Utah's Money this hour is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors. TrajanWealth.com. Rivian is suspending production of its electric commercial delivery van due to a shortage of parts. Shares were down 4% following the news.
Goldman Sachs says the odds of the U.S. slipping into a recession are dropping. The investment bank lowered the chances from 25 to 20% following the release of the jobless claims and retail sales report.
Car insurance premiums are rising. A recent report from Insurify shows that the costs have gone up 15%. Utah's rate is expected to increase, are you ready, by 24% by the end of the year compared to the start of the year.
Let's get a look at the futures market. The Dow futures are basically flat, -2. S&P flat as well, up 1. And the Nasdaq flat, up 4.2.
Let's get a look at Cougar Tracks here as we get 1 week closer to football. Sponsored by America First Credit Union. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper.
So much attention is given to BYU's offense, but the BYU defense also has questions that need answering this fall, particularly in the pass rush, but also their havoc rate. It's a defensive stat that measures a range of impact plays in a given game. BYU defensive ends coach Kelly Papinga broke down the importance of havoc.
Key to more havoc. Well, I just went over this with my guys yesterday. There's actually 7 things that are havoc. So there's sacks, there's TFLs, there's pass breakups, there's quarterback hurries, there's interceptions, there's fumble recoveries, and forced fumbles. So those 7 things is what the NCAA actually, that's a statistical, did you know that was a stat? Yep. Havoc. Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do there, right?
Last season, BYU had a havoc rate of 14.6%. That ranked 11th in the Big 12 Conference in that metric. They'll look to improve that number in 2024. And for more on BYU's defense, go to KSLSports.com. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
My wife and I always loved doing everything together. Jiu-jitsu, kayaking, and intimacy was always on point. It was around my early 30s when I noticed a downward trend. Watching a lot of TV, putting on weight, and just full of self-doubt. I had tried another men's clinic with disappointing results. It's the personalized treatment I receive at Revive Men's Health that has been the complete game changer for me. I've got my energy and motivation back, I'm feeling stronger than I did in my 20s, and it made me a much better husband to my wife.
I'm Eric Ramos, healthcare provider at Revive Men's Health. If you are always feeling tired or moody, have a difficult time sleeping, or decreased libido, you may be suffering from low testosterone.
Book your free T-check and exam at Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City.
Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Tim and Amanda.
One of the big differences, I think, between reading a story online and hearing it from us, Tim, is that, you and I are allowed to share a reaction. We need to be able to say, what in the world were they thinking? So that people listening will know. We feel it too. When we read a story that sounds ridiculous, we're right with you. It sounds ridiculous.
Well, we get caught up, I'm sure just like our listeners do sometimes, in death scrolling on social media. And fact-checking it on your own is tough. The great thing about tuning in every morning and starting your morning with us on KSL is you can count on the fact that when that information comes out of the radio in your direction, it comes from reliable sources.
It's already been fact-checked.
Right. And that's not always easy when you're getting it online. Finding who wrote it, when was it written, has it been updated with the current facts of the day that change sometimes minute to minute, not just day to day.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Classrooms are filling up again. Bus drivers are learning their routes. And teachers are breaking out homework.
Turn to page 12.
Listen, with so many kids back outside, go easy on the gas pedal. Take a few extra seconds to look for bikes and overstuffed backpacks. Help make the start of school
Quiet down.
safer.
That's better.
A friendly reminder from everyone at KSL News Radio.
5:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And what about now, Andy?
Well, Amanda, they've got the right lanes blocked off, so now only the far left lane is open, northbound 215, going up towards 2300 north. So this is near the airport, but 700 north on-ramp was blocked for a bit. Supposedly they're letting people on there now, but again, the slowdowns begin at I-80 and go all the way up past 700 north on 215. Heather?
We've got big delays in Far West this morning. 2700 north is a parking lot right now. That is westbound from US 89 all the way over to Rulon White Boulevard. That's heading toward I-15. All westbound lanes are shut down. Traffic is using one of the left lanes of the eastbound traffic to get around the crash, and that's what's causing the big backups. Once you hop on I-15, though, you're at speed, about 30 minutes-ish to get from Far West all the way into downtown Salt Lake. Eric.
Northbound SR 36, Tooele County, looking solid, going from Tooele through Stansbury up to the freeway entrance. And I-15, Utah County, that's off to a good start, too. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
No triple digits as far as the eye can see this week. 91 for a high today, but more rain possible this afternoon. It's 70 downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
There are talks on Capitol Hill about state lawmakers potentially holding a special session this week.
It's possible it could have to do with at least one major decision by the Utah Supreme Court regarding ballot initiatives or abortion. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, two members of the Utah House confirmed with KSL TV that they held closed-door caucus meetings late last week, that they talked about potentially putting a constitutional amendment on the ballot in November. Now, this comes after the state Supreme Court ruled against the state in a lawsuit over how the legislature drew our current congressional voting maps. Ruling the state constitution protects what voters originally wanted for the process. Now, it's a long, drawn-out battle basically deciding who makes those decisions and how much power the voters have. We also know one lawmaker told us he wanted state leadership to call a special session potentially to pass a new temporary statewide abortion ban after the high court allowed the trigger law to remain on hold. We'll keep you updated as more details are confirmed, hopefully in the next hours or so. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
There's plenty of damage left behind from the thunderstorms that rolled through this weekend. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson joins us live with the details. Verl?
Tim, we've got emails with pictures and videos of flooding across the state, from St. George and Fountain Green in southern Utah up to Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain, including parts of Tooele and Summit counties. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says Fountain Green got 3 inches of rain, while eastern St. George saw a little over an inch come down just yesterday. And he says there's a chance for more storms today, but the sun's really going to come in and help dry out some of those homes and places here in the middle of the week. Live, Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
One man has died and 2 others injured after lightning struck their fishing boat. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live. Brianna?
Amanda, the 3 had been out on the Bear River at a popular night fishing location when lightning struck, capsizing their boat and throwing the 3 overboard. 2 of the men made it to shore and saw the 3rd man go under the water, but never saw him come back up. Several agencies searched the area using sonar and located the body. Rescue divers were then able to retrieve it. One of the men is still in the hospital, and the other has been released. No names are being released out of respect for the families while they are being notified. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
You can read more about the latest storms, see pictures of storm damage, and get an update on the forecast on our website, kslnewsradio.com.
A man is in the hospital after an officer-involved shooting in Roy over the weekend, and neighbors still don't know what led to the shooting. KSL TV's Brianna Chavez has been speaking to people in that neighborhood.
I had to be at least 20, 30 shots, and I was sitting right by my window in our living room. One of those bullets could have come flying by and hit one of my kids or something like that.
Videos show police surrounding a home just before shots were fired. We are hoping to get an update from police today to better explain what led to the shooting. The Weber County Critical Incident Task Force will now lead the investigation.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Governor Tim Walz have been making a few battleground state stops before heading to the convention in Chicago tonight.
This is more than just a game.
It wasn't exactly Friday Night Lights, but Sunday afternoon, Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz, or Coach Walz as she frequently calls him, stopped by football practice at Aliquippa High School in western Pennsylvania.
Kids played hard.
The powerhouse football team won its 5th state title last year. Legendary Chicago Bears coach Mike Ditka played there. The Harris campaign is said to be planning to dispatch Walz, a former high school football coach, to games this fall to do voter outreach in small towns.
It is just fun as heck to play the game.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Chicago.
Tonight, President Joe Biden will be the keynote speaker at the convention, symbolically passing along the torch to Harris.
A new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll shows the Harris-Walz ticket has momentum heading into their convention, but former President Trump is still leading in some categories. More from ABC's Christian Cordero in Chicago.
Trump still has the upper hand on issues related to immigration, and according to the same poll, Trump leads Harris by 9 points in trust to handle the economy and inflation.
Protesters have gathered on the streets of Chicago ahead of the DNC. The chant addresses reproductive and LGBTQ rights, as well as a call to end the war in Gaza.
First look traffic, and we have a problem this morning on 215, Andy.
Yeah, it's a crash, and there's a bunch of debris and stuff in the road on northbound 215 near 700 North. It's actually a little bit past that. Traffic backed up to I-80. This is heading towards Davis County, so those of you coming up on the airport maybe want to switch to Redwood Road and then get back onto the freeway at 20. Well, it's not an easy way to do that, but you could just follow Redwood Road all the way up into Davis County to do that. Still have that crash affecting traffic heading towards the freeway, going Pleasant View through Far West to go to I-15. We still got a crash causing delay westbound. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Construction crews are making their way through Washington County. They'll be resurfacing I-15 between Green Springs Drive and Washington Parkway. It starts at 7 p.m. tonight, and the road will be closed until 7 a.m. tomorrow. The closure will happen every night until September 9th, so expect some lane restrictions and traffic shifts.
Former Congressman George Santos is expected to plead guilty today in his fraud case. More from ABC's Ika Jachi.
Santos was expelled from the House of Representatives in December, his time in Congress steeped in controversy. He has admitted to lying to voters about his education, his career, and his family background, claiming his grandparents survived the Holocaust. But the federal charges he's facing mainly involve money, allegations including lying to Congress about his wealth, defrauding donors, and using campaign funds for personal expenses.
Sources tell ABC News Santos just recently decided to change his plea.
A Orem band has advanced to the quarterfinals of the Rolling Stones American Hitmaker contest. Tyler Gould is the lead singer of the Tyler Gould Band, and he says money raised through votes will be used to help people in the music industry struggling with addictions.
Music for me, I can say literally saved my life. I struggled with an addiction for a long time. For about 10 years of my life, I struggled with addiction.
Voting for the quarterfinals will close on Thursday.
A group of Utahns spent Friday night learning more about bats. It was part of Bat Capture Night with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. The captured bats were measured and weighed within arm's reach of curious viewers.
Bats are one of those where there's a lot of excitement around them, but a lot of things that people may not know. So hosting events like this is a great way to be able to inform the public.
Wildlife recreation specialist Michael Packer says about 70 people attended, with around 300 others on a waiting list. There is a second Bat Capture Night planned for later this week at Mammoth Cave.
We have some major delays. I-215 on the West Belt going to the airport. Is there anything more frustrating than running late to catch a flight?
Yeah.
And then finding something that's going to slow you down even more? There's only one lane of traffic getting through right now. We'll check traffic and weather together in a minute.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Debbie is the voice of reason, and Dave reminds me of my little brother. Well-spoken, and they're a great team together.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
We have some exciting news to announce.
Master Electrical Service has joined Mountain Home Services.
And I can speak from experience, Deb. Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago, and it's been amazing.
And we know Master Electrical Service has been your trusted source for all your electrical needs, like your EV chargers, your generators, and recessed lighting.
But now that they've joined Mountain Home Services, they can help you with your HVAC, your heating and air, as well as your plumbing.
And it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee. I love the upfront pricing guarantee because it means no hidden fees.
100% satisfaction guarantee as well.
Master Electrical Service has been the name you trust since 1954.
They're the company we trust, and so can you.
Check them out now at mountainhomeutah.com.
That's mountainhomeutah.com, or give them a call at 801-543-2222. So easy to remember, 801-543-2222.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Let's get right to your traffic and weather together here. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Boy, they're cleaning up the mess, Andy, but it's causing for some visibility problems right there at that accident.
Yeah, northbound 215. It's a little bit after 700 north, so those of you heading towards Davis County on the West Belt, you're going to be affected. Only the far left lane is open, which is why traffic is backed up all the way to I-80. And those of you trying to get by there trying to do cleanup, so I don't know if it's dust or what, but they're trying to clean up some fluid that's spilled. Heather?
And we have an accident in Far West. This is on 2700 North westbound, right at Rulon White Boulevard, which is just before you get to I-15. All lanes are blocked. Traffic is using a left lane of the eastbound traffic to get around the crash, and that has everybody backed up to US 89, so that might be another place you want to take an alternate route. Otherwise, traffic is moving along pretty well throughout Weber and Davis counties. No problems on US 89 itself, I-15, or Legacy Parkway. Eric.
I-15 is in solid shape, northbound from Provo all the way to downtown Salt Lake City. No accidents or delays. SR-36 looks good heading north as well out in Tooele County. And if you're out in the Wasatch Back right now, we don't seem to have any problems on US 40 going from Heber City to Park City. Eric Butler on the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecasting a high of 91 today with pop-up scattered storms by afternoon and evening. 70 overnight with partly cloudy skies. It'll rise right back to 96 for your Tuesday afternoon. Partly cloudy with a slight chance for storms at the south end of the Wasatch and at the mountaintops. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Still 70 degrees downtown.
President Biden gives the keynote address tonight at the Democratic National Convention, handing the torch off to his Vice President Kamala Harris. That will be an interesting night tonight, I think, and maybe emotional for some.
Yeah, they've got a fully produced video, evidently, that walks through his time serving in Washington through all those years.
Decades of service, yeah. We'll have more on that coming up with Steve Futterman just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
None of you would want to spend more than you have to on something, would you? No.
Never.
Never. So if you knew you could get, if you needed new sheets for your bed or something, an appliance for your kitchen or clothes for your kids or yourself, or you needed school supplies or party supplies or food, if you could go somewhere and spend less, wouldn't you do that?
And that place is NPS, and there are 4 locations along the Wasatch Front, but it goes to really everything: sporting goods, hardware, electric, hand tools, groceries. Your addiction to NPS actually started with savings on groceries.
Yes, that was my gateway. It was groceries. And I go there now every Friday because isn't your grocery bill driving you nuts? You want to cut that bill way down? Go to NPS and start there.
Because their bottom line business model is to save you 20 to 70% off everything. And we always feel like we should tell you this is all brand new name brand items, by the way, that come to them as refused shipments, unclaimed or overstocked, and they never know from one day to the next what might be coming.
Right.
So they give you that initial savings of 20 to 70% off, but then they'll mark it down even more to move it off of their own shelf.
You're going to save thousands of dollars, in your family budget. You need to start shopping at NPS.
There are 4 locations, as I mentioned. You'll find 2 stores in Salt Lake City, 1 in Layton, 1 in Orem.
August is National Cashback Month. Didn't know? Okay, maybe it's not National Cashback Month. But at Hercules First Federal Credit Union, they think a cashback month is a great idea.
It's a great idea!
Told ya. So get ready for cashback in August. But first, let's talk benefits of being a member at Hercules. You'll receive $150 when you open a new checking account with a qualifying direct deposit, as well as getting access to travel rewards and cash back with the Hercules Lifestyle Rewards debit card. Get up to 25% cash back when you use Ticket Express to purchase tickets for theme parks, movie theaters, and local events through August 31st. Details await at HerculesCU.com. That's HerculesCU.com. Hercules Credit Union. Growing stronger together. Equal housing lender. All accounts insured to $250,000 by NCUA.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-495-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value free with every order. Call 1-800-495-6468 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
KSL News Time, 6:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
4 kids are headed back to the classroom this week. Today, kids in the Canyons, Murray City, and Wasatch school districts have their first day of the school year. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Utah lawmakers have been talking about potentially holding a special session this week. Topics could include abortion and ballot initiatives.
Third, let's check that trouble spot with traffic and weather together.
Traffic backed up on 215's west side, going up between I-80 and 2300 north. There's a crash with only the far left lane of the freeway open. The reason for this delay, and it is taking people upwards of 10 to 12 minutes already to get through the backups, maybe even more. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered pop-up monsoon thunderstorms today, then a dry stretch. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
New polling out today. Let's check in with ABC News.
From ABC News.
I'm Sherry Preston. Going into the Democratic National Convention, a new poll out shows a national lead for Kamala Harris. ABC national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
The ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll has Harris ahead with a 5-point lead among all adults, but Trump is trusted more to handle top issues such as the economy and inflation, crime and safety, and immigration. 72% in our poll say they currently have a negative view of the U.S. economy, but only a third say they believe Vice President Harris has had significant influence on President Biden's economic policies.
Now let's turn to the convention in Chicago, where Joe Biden will speak tonight. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan, who's there.
These political conventions are filled with symbolism, with the least important speakers, for example, first on the schedule, the presidential nominee being the last on Thursday. That's why it's notable that incumbent President Joe Biden is first up this evening to give a farewell address to his fellow Democrats and to hand the torch to Kamala Harris. Even the seating arrangements in the convention hall are symbolic. The 273 delegates from deep red Texas are seated near the rear, while the delegates from Democratic stronghold California are right up front. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Chicago.
Crowds of activists gathering in Chicago protesting climate change, abortion rights, racial equity, and the bombing in Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is back in the Middle East, his 9th trip to the region since the Israel-Hamas war began. Blinken calls this trip a decisive moment in the conflict. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge in Tel Aviv with more on what the latest ceasefire talks include.
Palestinian prisoners convicted by Israeli courts of very, very serious terrorism offenses could be released in exchange for certain categories of hostages. So the details complex.
And the talks complex as well. Hundreds of doctors are the latest to protest near India's health ministry, demanding more stringent laws to protect healthcare workers from violence following the recent rape and murder of a young doctor who was killed at a state-run hospital. You're listening to ABC News.
President Biden gives tonight's keynote address as the Democrats kick off their national convention in Chicago.
We get a preview from America in the Morning. Steve Futterman.
All this weekend, delegates were arriving here in Chicago.
This is all about launching Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to victory.
Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker sounded a bit like a cheerleader.
Are you ready for the fight? Are you ready for the fight?
The convention is being held at the United Center, best known as being the place where Michael Jordan once played for the Chicago Bulls. The delegates are confident. Michael Steed is a former Democratic Party official. He believes Kamala Harris has turned everything around in the last 30 days.
I think that she has extraordinarily stimulated groups from around the country that were not going to participate, that are now participating.
Security is visible everywhere you look. A perimeter has been put up outside the arena. Everyone entering is required to go through a security check. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
If you can predict something, you can prepare for it.
The biggest concern this week are pro-Palestinian protests and the possibility of violence. Today, up to 25,000 people, perhaps even more, will gather to demonstrate against U.S. support of Israel in the Gaza war. It is bringing back memories of another Democratic convention here in Chicago 56 years ago in 1968, when anti-Vietnam War demonstrations did turn violent, with police attacking protesters and the convention being disrupted.
Mr. Chairman, most delegates to this convention do not know that thousands of young people are being beaten in the streets of Chicago.
Tonight's opening session will be a salute to Joe Biden. Just 2 months ago, he was presumed to be the nominee. Instead, this evening, Biden will address the convention and symbolically pass the torch to Kamala Harris. I'm Steve Futterman at the Democratic Convention in Chicago.
Of course, we'll have complete coverage tomorrow morning here and all week.
All week long.
On KSL News Radio.
Make sure you're with us here starting at 5. Only in-depth at 15 and 45.
Let's get another look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back to you, Andy.
And right now, travel on I-15 northbound is looking good, but it's 215 that's a big mess. In fact, you're backed up from basically just before I-80 all the way up to 700 North. They're trying to open a second lane, but for now only the far left lane is open. And you're backed up on the ramp from I-80 on to northbound 215. Again, that's on the west side. Heather?
Traffic is getting busier trying to get into Hill Air Force Base. Both the south and west gates have a little bit of backup. No major delays yet, but just be aware that's where we have most of the congestion. Once you hop on a freeway, though, you look good on US 89, I-15. We're still dealing with the crash in far west northwest. It's 2700 north, heading westbound right at Rulon Wright Boulevard, and it is blocking all westbound lanes, traffic using one of the eastbound lanes to get around it. Eric.
I-80 looks good through Parley's Canyon, and we did have a crash exiting I-80. Actually, it was from the opposite direction, but we did have a crash that was limiting traffic to go southbound US 40 right underneath the freeway, but that has been cleared, so everything is back to normal there. I-15 in Utah County, northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain, that's a normal 20-minute drive time. Plan to visit the 12th annual Utah Renaissance Fair, August 23rd and 24th at the Young Living Farms in Mona, Utah. Visit utahrenfair.org for tickets and details. Eric Butler in KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starting out with some pop-up storms for today. 91 the high. For tomorrow, 96, partly cloudy. We'll go mostly sunny, 95 on your Wednesday. Thursday, mostly sunny, 92. We drop off Friday to 90 degrees, breezy and a chance for storms. We keep scattered storms in the forecast on Saturday, breezy, 83. We fall to 81 for a high on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Cooled off a little bit, 68 degrees now downtown, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We were just talking about the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Every day this week on both Dave and Dujanovic at 10 o'clock and then Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson at 1 o'clock. They'll be talking to Utahns who are back in Chicago.
Oh, cool.
As part of the DNC and get their perspective. So don't forget to join Dave and Dujanovic and Inside Sources all this week on KSL.
KSL News Time, 6:23.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At slcfatloss.com, we know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no surgery, and no injections with the risk of serious side effects, go to slcfatloss.com now to schedule your free consultation in person or virtually.
I'm Maria Chaleos. Salt Lake City Fat Loss has made it possible for me to lose weight as quickly as possible without rigorous workouts, injections, or prepackaged meals. I've now lost more than 38 pounds. Save $200 now at slcfatloss.com.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 801-450-1882 or go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
You pace around in it. You sleep in it, sometimes. When you're not thinking about those mounting bills in it.
Oh boy.
But when it comes to paying off your debt, you don't even consider it. It's your home. Tap into it with HomeTap. Tap into the money you already have with no monthly payments. Learn more about paying off credit cards, medical bills, or any other debt at HomeTap.com. With HomeTap, you can tap into it.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. As I've listened to your concerns during my town halls and meetings throughout the district, one thing is clear. Utahns are concerned about border security. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the Biden administration's policies have allowed nearly 10 million encounters nationwide, including over 8 million at the southern border, more than ever before in American history. Record amounts of fentanyl have come through our borders and led to heartbreaking outcomes for families who have lost loved ones to overdoses. For the sake of our community's safety and national security, something must change. This is why House Republicans swiftly passed the Secure the Border Act to strengthen our southern border with new technologies, increase the number of Border Patrol agents, end catch and release, and require transparency from the Department of Homeland Security. I will keep fighting to make 1st District communities safer, and I encourage you to sign up for my weekly e-newsletter and follow me on social media at Rep. Blake Moore to stay updated on my efforts. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Private jet flights fell 15% this year after peaking in 2022. CNBC reports that the industry is struggling with less demand and new competitive landscape for high-end travel.
I know I've flown fewer private flights this year. You?
Yeah, I've only ever flown one in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never have, so there you go. A local freezer meal prep delivery service is expanding. Our friends at Beehive Meals will now be delivering to Utah, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, and Nevada. The company worth $8.7 billion.
Wow. KSL Drives, Ford Motors is updating one of their cars to include some unique perks. The 2025 model of the Lincoln Navigator will include a 48-inch front display, as well as a spa and gaming mode. Ford says the pricing will start under $100,000.
Isn't it funny? They used to be concerned about distractions in the front seat.
Yeah.
And now they've
It's
got
a 48-inch screen?
A 48-inch big screen for you to play on.
That's just insane.
All right, futures market this morning are in the green, but not by much. The Dow is up 13, the S&P is up 5, the Nasdaq up 17 1/4.
We're watching debris being cleared off northbound I-215 from an earlier crash. That's near 700 North. The backups to I-80. We'll check it. Traffic and weather coming up next.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Is your car dragging you under? If you're concerned about it, Dave and Debbie are talking about it.
The hidden cost of car ownership.
Thoughtful conversation and possible practical solutions.
This is going to hurt you, but it's a conversation we need to have.
Dave and Dejanovic, mornings at 9 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 6:29, traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Still in cleanup mode out there, Andy.
Yep, northbound 215, only one lane open just after 700 North. Traffic backed all the way past I-80. Not quite back to California Avenue, but it is back prior to the I-80 turn, and it's affecting people coming off of eastbound 80 to go north on 215. And the 700 North on-ramp is open, but you merge right in and have to get all the way over to the far left immediately in order to get by. Redwood, still a decent alternate for now if you can get over to it. Heather?
Well, we've got a lane open now on 2700 North westbound right at Rulon White Boulevard. That's as you try to get from there over to I-15. Still have a little bit of backup almost to US 89, but as now that more lanes are opening up, the traffic will clear out. That's up in far west. If you're on a freeway, though, you haven't seen any delay, although traffic is filling in, especially southbound I-15 between Clearfield and Farmington. Eric.
Had a little bit of southbound slowing over on State Street as you go from Orem into Provo. This is centered around 1700 South, but everything else in Utah County is rolling along pretty well. Northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain, that's a 20-minute drive, and Redwood Road and State Street on the northbound side looking pretty good. Two Brothers Mattress is having their huge Labor Day sale. Save up to $700 on Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Visit one of their 5 stores and see all their sale prices at twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're not done with the thunderstorms yet. We have a chance today, a 30% chance. Then we'll clear out for the midweek, and the thunderstorms come back Friday and Saturday. Right now it's 69 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
More kids are headed back to school this week.
Just today, kids in the Canyons and Murray City school districts are heading back to the classroom. KSL News Radio's Adam Spall has more. Adam?
Amanda, this is already the Canyon School District's 16th year, if you can believe it, since they had their very first day back in 2009. District spokesman Jeff Haney tells me this year they really want to address a problem that we're seeing around the country. That's chronic absenteeism.
We really like having our kids at school.
they learn when they're with their teachers, and we have all the support systems in place.
This is also the first year kindergartners will have their first day on the same day as the rest of the district's K through 12 students. In all, Canyons today welcoming back around 33,000 kids. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A new elementary school principal in Murray is championing greater inclusion for students with special needs.
Despite being her first year as principal of Viewmont Elementary, Leah Smith is diving into her role by actively meeting with parents and collecting feedback. Many parents of students with special needs have expressed concerns about their children not being fully included.
Also, our students with some more severe needs, and how do we incorporate them better into things like PE and STEM and our art cart, right? So we want them to have all of those experiences.
Smith believes upping parental involvement is key.
Parents have ideas about what's happening in the school, but they don't necessarily know what's happening in the schools, and the only way to know is to be in them.
Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Several other districts start school today, including Rich, Uinta, and Wasatch school districts.
Back to school isn't just hard on parents' wallets. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson tells us Utah teachers often spend hundreds of their own dollars on basic classroom needs.
American Federation of Teachers Utah President Brad Acey says he's known many teachers to even spend upwards of $1,000 on basics, and most of the time they have to rely on outside donations.
They hate to do that. They hate sending out those lists and asking for contributions like tissues, basic things in the classroom, pencils, pens. It's awful for us to have to go out and ask parents, because we know right now with the economy, everyone is stretched to their limits.
School funding is mostly spent on things like salaries and building maintenance. It usually runs out before it makes it down to the classroom level. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Nearly half the teachers in the Weber School District will have wearable panic alarms this year. Lane Finley from the Weber School District says they can use the devices to call the local dispatch for emergencies, and they can also be programmed to call school administrators or school resource officers.
To give teachers, educators, a device that they can immediately activate and get help on the way, I think that's very reassuring and comforting.
Finley says about 45% of their teachers have these devices so far. It will take time to get the funding to equip all of them. A state law that went into effect earlier this year requires all schools to get wearable panic alarms, but no deadline for implementation has been set.
KSL's top national stories this hour. ABC News Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein previews the DNC.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz barnstorming critical Pennsylvania. Sunday, they're kind of the last burst of campaigning from over the weekend. And then we come right into tonight, where the capstone speech is going to be President Biden himself.
Former President Donald Trump will be busy this week campaigning in battleground states.
Protesters are hitting the streets of downtown Chicago.
Assuming that the names Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are on the ballot in November, many in the crowd of hundreds who marched in downtown Chicago Sunday plan to pick neither. Joan Wright says the Democrats and Republicans both have committed to supporting Israel in its fight against Hamas.
That money should be going instead towards things like Medicare for all, free education, things that working class people in this country desperately need.
Wright is supporting Green Party candidate Jill Stein, who's on the ballot in fewer than half the states. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Chicago.
And he's back now with your first look traffic.
The big delay is still over on 215's west side, where a crash near 1200 North, so halfway between 700 North and basically the turn to Legacy. The crash has got everything but the far left lane blocked, and that's created delays that go back past I-80 and on to I-80 itself. That transition ramp's a parking lot. It's the kind of thing you'd see in the afternoon usually, but it's in the morning because of a crash. I-15 not seeing any actual backups right now between Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo, though. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
At the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon, two semis collided, leading to thousands of gallons of fuel spilling over the road. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live. Brianna?
Amanda, Sunday afternoon, a rolling semi hit a Maverick fuel tank. The side of the fuel tank was ripped open, spilling 6,000 gallons of gas all over the highway. One of the drivers was taken to the hospital with some minor injuries. So far, we don't know which driver it was. Both directions of Highway 6 were closed and a hazmat team called in to clean the road. The canyon was closed for 5 hours. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Lots of people grab a caffeinated drink to help wake them up in the morning, but a new study says too much caffeine can lead to heart disease. KSL News Radio's Virl Johansson joins us live. Virl?
Tim, drinking 400 or more milligrams of caffeine a day could increase the chance of heart problems. Now, that's the same as drinking 4 cups of coffee, 10 cans of soda, or 2 energy drinks all in one day. The Zydus Medical College and Hospital in India looked at the effects of drinks like coffee, tea, sodas, and energy drinks on heart rate and blood pressure, finding that drinking 400 or more milligrams significantly affects the part of the nervous system that controls heart rate and blood pressure, increasing both of them over time and raising the risk of heart problems in the future. Live, Virl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
The former NFL player at the center of the 2009 Oscar-nominated movie The Blind Side is explaining why he filed a lawsuit against the family who took him in. Michael Orr says his vulnerability at the time allowed the family to take advantage of him. Details from ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
He alleges the Tuohys took advantage of him, depriving him of millions. At the age of 18, Orr says he thought he was signing adoption papers, but it ended up being a conservatorship, allowing the Tuohys to take advantage of his finances for nearly 20 years.
The Tuohys are denying any wrongdoing.
That slowdown spot right there, northbound I-215 from I-80 past the airport's moving again. 3 lanes of traffic getting through now. We'll check it with the rest of the valley next.
Reliability, steadiness, trusted voices.
I'll listen to KSL in the morning. I use it to find my weather, to find my traffic. When you ask me what news is, I think of KSL first.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Hi, can I help you?
You don't recognize me?
You look familiar. Have we met?
I'm your property taxes.
Oh, sure. You've gotten bigger.
Guess what?
Come on. No, you can't just give me a break.
Rising property values in Utah have led to increased property taxes. Some are struggling due to those increases, but it's time for good news. AARP Utah is here to help. AARP Utah has made it the top priority to connect qualified Utahns to our state's Circuit Breaker program, which offers tax relief to renters and homeowners. If you're over 66 with a household income below $41,000, you might qualify to save up to $1,200 in property tax relief. Don't miss out. The deadline to apply for homeowners is September 1st. For more information and to see if you qualify for up to $1,200 in property tax relief, visit aarp.org/UT. That's aarp.org/UT.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For those of you living in the Wasatch, the Canyons, or the Murray areas, kiddos are going to be headed back to school, probably headed out here in the next 20 minutes or so. So remember to watch for them through your neighborhoods as you head out, and we'll keep an eye on the drive.
6:39 now. Traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Amanda, the biggest delay is over on 215. The good news, the crash that caused this backup that goes from basically 500 south all the way up for about 3 miles to 1200 north on 215 is moved over to the shoulder. So we have all of the main flow lanes reopened, and there's still a lot of like powder kicking up from the stuff they had to throw down on the fluid that's spilled. So it's not back to the speed limit, but it does have all the lanes open. We've got a crash on South 15 leaving downtown a little bit after the 500 south on-ramp. It's over to the left side. Heather?
Crews are still cleaning up a crash in Far West. This is on 2700 north. And most of the westbound lanes were blocked for the morning. They've opened up those lanes, but there's still one of the eastbound lanes blocked with emergency crews. The good news is there's not enough traffic in that area to cause any type of delay now that the lanes are open. You have good speeds on I-15 Legacy Parkway and the West Side Belt southbound if you're trying to get to the airport. City streets are starting to fill in, though, in Ogden and Clearfield. Eric?
From Provo to Lehigh, I-15 looks just fine in Utah County. The major feeders kilometers over to the freeway from Spanish Fork. That's Highway 6 all the way to Timpanogos Highway. Everything in between moving at a solid rate of speed. Just a little bit of stoplight congestion in Sequoia County, northbound SR 36 in Stansbury Park, approaching the Pole Canyon intersection, for instance. It's the end of summer sale with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $99 plus 20% off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroRes.com and book your appointment today. Eric Butler in KSL Traffic Center.
Monsoon moisture still in place today. We'll go for scattered thunderstorms by afternoon and evening, high of only 91. Overnight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 70. Into Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 96, but a slight chance for storms in the mountains. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Fair skies out there this morning and 68 degrees.
We'll go to the White House in a moment and talk with the ABC reporter back there, Karen Travers, about tonight's opening of the Democratic National Convention with President Biden. The First Lady will also speak, Dr. Jill Biden, and we'll hear from former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton today as well. So it's the beginning of the DNC, and we'll cover it here on KSL.
Right now, however, it's time to check in with Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News, brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
When I was 19 years old, I got to go backstage at an outdoor concert. You probably never heard of the band, Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. This was their sorta semi-famous song. It's called Having a Party. Cool college kids loved Southside Johnny back then, and backstage, I met this guy and we were chatting, and I said, "And what do you do?" My buddy is mortified and says, "You dope, this is Southside Johnny." This guy was a hero to all cool college kids. 19 years old, I felt 2 inches tall as I stammered, I didn't recognize you with your sunglasses on. I was dying inside, so embarrassed. And I did it again on Saturday night. We were at a backyard party in Ogden for a friend's birthday, and I'm eating at a picnic table. Guy sits down with us, and we're talking about the new hockey team and the $1 billion makeover for the city, and I'm being all Mr. Smart Guy, telling him fact after fact about the deal, and he tells me how upset he is they might wreck a Bravenel Hall. And after about 10 minutes, I say, "And what do you do?" And he mumbles, "I'm a retired lawyer." And the whole time my wife is cringing and she tries to help. She says, "Oh, honey, we've met before." It doesn't click. And I say to this white-haired guy, "Where do you live?" Which is the stupidest question in the world when the guy was mayor of Salt Lake City for 8 years and just ran again. It's Rocky Anderson sitting across from me, whom I've interviewed on this show repeatedly. I was so embarrassed I tried to pass it off as a senior moment, but it's not, because I did the same thing when I was 19 and I remember it like it was yesterday. Another party, another mistake. So if you ever invite me to one, make sure everybody wears name tags.
And we're having a party. Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Because of a surgery I had, it put me in a position where I had to learn to walk again. I had no hope for any more income. We had an IRS burden of about $36,000. With no income and only enough money to keep paying the bills, we had to make a decision. I was driving home from Salt Lake one day and I heard a commercial on the radio about Jordan Wilcox. I got home, my wife and I, we talked about it, and we made the decision to give Jordan Wilcox a call. We met with Jordan at his office, and they had a plan in place for me almost immediately. And because of the good work of the folks at Jordan Wilcox's office, that burden was reduced to about $895. When we found out that it was only $895, it was like the worst burden in the world had been taken off from our shoulders.
Don't face the IRS alone. I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation. Let's solve your tax problems. That's taxhelput.com.
KSL News Time, 6:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
you may want to think twice before grabbing another caffeinated drink. A new study found drinking too much caffeine could increase your chances of heart problems. I'm KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson.
Second, Utah lawmakers have interim meetings this week, and there is talk about them calling a special session to deal with ballot initiatives and abortion.
Third, a look at that drive, traffic and weather together.
With all lanes open on 215, that back end of the delay is still where it's thickest, northbound from going up from California Avenue past I-80 in the direction of Davis County. But it is moving better now from I-80 up towards 700 North. Still not seeing any main flow I-15 delays in Salt Lake or Davis counties. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered storms in the forecast, then we get back to dry weather. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time to check in with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Headed into the Democratic National Convention, a new poll from ABC News shows a lead for Kamala Harris, even though Donald Trump is trusted more to handle issues of economy and inflation. That poll done by ABC News, The Washington Post, and Ipsos. Trains between New York and Philadelphia stopped from running on Sunday because of severe weather, which also canceled and delayed hundreds of flights. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Connecticut, where several areas dealt with flash flooding over the weekend.
More than 40 people were stranded at a campground after a bridge was washed out, cutting off their escape route. Rescuers rushing to save dozens of drivers trapped in the flooding. Meantime, powerful rain and flooding is also inundating New Jersey and New York.
The Secretary of State is back in the Middle East, Antony Blinken, saying it is imperative to get a ceasefire deal done now. This is his 9th trip to the region since the war began October 7th. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth now. President Joe Biden will be giving tonight's keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention.
Joining us live is ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers. Both he and the First Lady will speak, right, Karen?
They will tonight in the primetime remarks of the programming tonight. You know, it's a big spotlight for the president, probably the biggest audience that he'll have over the remaining months of his time in office. He is expected to do a farewell speech in January, but, you know, this is a big one for him tonight. It's a chance for him to reflect back on his 3.5 years in the office and also hand off the convention, the torch, the party, all of it to his vice president, Kamala Harris. We're told he is going to make a very strong case for her tonight and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, and look at what he has done while he's been in office and how she's played a big part of that and how she has helped him accomplish so much, in his view, for this country. Tonight's theme is for the people, and aides to the president say he's going to be speaking about how his administration has worked to ensure democracy prevailed and delivered for all Americans and how it now must be preserved.
You would have to imagine, though, Karen, this would be a bittersweet moment for him, won't it?
I think that's the exact word for it. It's a bittersweet moment. It's emotional for the Biden family, the close aides. You know, this is very different than what they were planning for just a month ago. I mean, from the logistics standpoint, it's incredibly challenging to suddenly turn on a dime like this for the convention that was supposed to be all about Joe Biden and now make it all about Kamala Harris. That's been a big challenge for the Democratic Party and the organizers of this event. But then just from the personal side of this, you know, this is a very abrupt ending to a 50-plus year career in public service for Joe Biden. And he's speaking tonight, the first night, because the idea is you have him out there, give him his due. They're expecting a very big, warm welcome for him. And then he's leaving Chicago. No surprise. He's not sticking around for the next couple of days as the focus shifts towards the future. That's the theme for the next several nights, and all about Kamala Harris and what her administration would be like if she were to win in November.
What about Hillary Clinton's speech today?
Yeah, they're speaking later this week, not today. We'll hear from the Clintons. We'll also hear from former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. They're speaking tomorrow night. Still don't have a lot of details of like exactly what they will all be focusing on and you know, what that will look like. But we do know what the themes for the convention will be for the next several nights. As I said, tonight is for the people. Tomorrow night is a bold vision for America's future. Wednesday is fight for freedom. And Thursday, when the vice president takes the stage for her acceptance speech, the theme is for our future. So a lot of emphasis there on forward looking and what could come next.
All right, Karen, thank you, as always, for your coverage. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers at the DNC in Chicago this morning. It's time again for a look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. We're moving, but slowly out there on I-215, Andy.
Yeah, it is moving, and all the lanes are open where the crash happened up around 1200 North on 215, heading up towards Davis County. The slowing on the freeway still in place from prior to basically from the I-80 split off where that ramp begins. And then over the top of I-80 and up towards Davis County, we've got some southbound slowing right after you get on the freeway at 500 South, heading down past some emergency vehicles down closer to 1300 South. And the 201 freeway a little bit slow in the construction between 3200 West and 215. Heather?
Our most congested area right now in Weber and Davis County is both the south and west gates of Hill Air Force Base. You will see about 2 blocks of backup in all directions at both of those gates. Southbound I-15 still has most of the traffic. No slowing yet, but definitely filling in, getting crowded as you make your way from Clearfield into Bountiful. Eric?
Coming out of Utah County, northbound I-15, some slowing because of a crash that's just past the Timpanogos Highway on-ramp. You got vehicles up against the left barrier and over on the right shoulder, so the main lanes of traffic aren't blocked, but we do have some brake tapping going through there. Once past that, really you're not going to have any problems all the way to downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast has a nice cooling trend. We'll start with some thunderstorms today, though, scattered in nature, and a high of 91. 96 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, could see a pop-up storm in the mountains. Mostly sunny on Wednesday, 95. 92 mostly sunny Thursday. Friday, returning to the region is a chance for storms, 90 degrees but breezy. We keep winds out of the south on Saturday, 83 the high, chance for storms. Then cooler, 81 on Sunday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I got to remember to take my umbrella today.
Yeah.
68 degrees right now. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I almost think it's a good idea every day with the way this weather has been moving through. We may get a little of that this afternoon and more coming toward week's end. We'll keep an eye on that for you, of course, just like we are an eye on how the markets are moving. We'll check money news next.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors. TrajanWealth.com. 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken nuggets and tenders are being recalled after customers reported finding metal wire inside of them. Purdue Foods is offering full refunds to customers affected by the recall. No injuries, luckily, have been reported so far.
Young Americans are having a hard time being optimistic about their economic futures. 2/3 of Americans age 18 to 34 say a top issue this election is the cost of living. That's according to an Ipsos poll.
Egg prices, speaking of cost of living, are rising again. They're 19.1% more expensive than they were this time last year. It's the third straight month they went up, according to the Consumer Price Index.
Markets are pretty flat this morning. The Dow futures are off 13. That's less than a tenth. S&P futures up 3, less than a tenth. And the Nasdaq up 19, which is just about 0.1%.
I noticed that Goldman Sachs is saying they have lowered the chance of U.S. recession from 25% to 20%, whatever that means, over the next year. And giving some positive moves to the market this morning. We'll see what effect that has when we have the opening bell for you coming up less than an hour away. Southbound slowing, the team telling us. I-15 coming out of downtown because of a crash. We'll check the entire valley with traffic and weather together next.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Hi, Doug Wright here with one more little experiment you can do at home. In a pan of water, all you have to do is stir in limestone, calcium, magnesium particles, and then heat that whole mess up on the stove. And you know what, on second thought, not such a good idea, because limestone, calcium, and magnesium particles heated in water will clump and stick to your pan like concrete, which incidentally is exactly what's going on inside your water heater. Think about it, limestone, calcium, magnesium, that's what makes hard water hard. And trust me on this, if you live in northern Utah, your home has hard water. So call Connecticut of Utah. I'll give you the number in a moment. They'll test your water's hardness for free, and they'll show you the patented design features that make Connecticut water softeners work better than any other. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. To learn more, call Connecticut. It's 801-576-8600 or log on to softwaterutah.com and call now while it's on your mind.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
In 2024, dating is a disaster. We've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, stuck in situationships. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Caitlin. Welcome to our new podcast, Dating at Her Age. Dating has been so dicey for us, we asked KSL, can we launch an all-new podcast about it?
People use these dating apps. You're not really dating when you're on the dating app.
Dating at Her Age. Brought to you by Mountain Home Services. A new episode drops every Thursday on KSLNewsRadio.com.
6:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And any better at all, Andy?
It is improving, although there's still slowdowns on the West Belt from 215 all the way up, now extending almost to 1700 north. Crash on the right shoulder, just a couple of vehicles left, but it was a pretty rough backup for a while. Where you're also seeing slowdowns right now is leaving downtown Salt Lake. In fact, slowing starts prior to the 5th South on-ramp merge till you go down past a crash that's over to the left, partly in the HOV lane near 1300 South. Heather?
We don't have any delays on the major freeways in Weber and Davis counties, but traffic is definitely filling in. You'll see some heavier pockets of traffic on I-15 southbound through Clearfield and Farmington, as well as on Legacy Parkway. It's the city streets showing a little bit of congestion, though, in Ogden and Clearfield. Eric?
We still got one car on the right lane, right shoulder, actually, I should say, northbound I-15 coming out of Utah County. This is just past Timpanogos Highway where we had a crash on both sides of the freeway. But right now, it's just that one car left, and traffic is moving normally through the area, so you're looking at a 22-minute drive northbound from Springville all the way up to Point of the Mountain. Redwood Road looking good heading north out of Saratoga Springs this morning into the Bluffdale Riverton area. It's time to get your tickets for Utah Symphony and Utah Opera this season. Right now, get the best available main floor seats for just $25 at usuo.org/on sale. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Don't forget about that 30% chance of showers this afternoon. Could be wild again at times. 91 for a high, and it's 70 downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
There's rumblings the Utah Legislature could potentially hold a special session this week regarding at least one recent ruling by the state Supreme Court.
There is speculation lawmakers could address either ballot initiatives or abortion or both. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, while there isn't anything set in stone yet in terms of a special session, multiple sources have confirmed with KSL TV there have been discussions on the Hill of holding one. Now, if lawmakers decide to do this, it sounds like they'll most likely address the Supreme Court's recent ruling in a gerrymandering lawsuit where they ruled a voter-led ballot initiative, which opted for an independent commission to draw our congressional voting maps, was protected by the state's constitution. So the plaintiff won that case, but sources say the talks are around adding a constitutional amendment to maybe change how the Constitution protects that in November. But we also know one lawmaker was also calling on leadership to call a special session to address abortion access in the state after the high court allowed a near total statewide abortion ban to remain on hold. We'll keep you updated as we get more confirmed information as talks continue. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Now to the weather. People are cleaning up the damage after heavy rains flooded basements over the past couple of days. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson begins our live team coverage. Severe Utah weather. Verl?
Tim, we've received emails from people across the state from St. George, Fountain Green, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, and parts of Tooele and Summit County. Becca Malott from Eagle Mountain sent us some videos of flooding at her neighbor's home.
Yep, it's just pouring in through this one too. It's literally pouring.
She's talking about water flowing into the basement from multiple window wells. Other videos sent in to us show flooded streets, and a couple pictures show people digging trenches for the water to flow away from homes and trying to save some water-damaged items from inside. Live, Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
Lightning struck and killed one man and injured two others who were on a boat in Box Elder County. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis continues our live team coverage. Severe Utah weather. Brianna?
Amanda, the man had been out with two others at a popular night fishing location on the Bear River when lightning hit the boat, capsizing it and throwing all three overboard. Two of the men made it to shore and saw the third man go under the water. He did not resurface. Several agencies searched the area using sonar and located the body. Rescue divers were then able to retrieve it. Out of respect, the name of the man has not been released while family members are being notified. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Rescue teams have been busy all weekend long in both northern and southern Utah over the weekend. They're asking people to stay out of slot canyons until the monsoonal moisture goes away. You can read a lot more about the storms and see pictures of the damage at KSLNewsRadio.com.
A Roy neighborhood is trying to deal with the aftermath of an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. KSL TV's Brianna Chavez spoke to people who lived next to where police surrounded the home.
Neighbors say it's a miracle no one else was caught in the crossfire.
I don't know the whole situation, but somebody else could have gotten her. 20-plus shots is insane.
The condition of the man who was shot is still unknown this morning, and we are waiting for Roy Police to give us more details on what led to the shooting. The officers who fired the shots are on administrative leave. The Weber County Critical Incident Task Force will now lead the investigation.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The Democratic National Convention kicks off today in Chicago, just weeks after President Biden ended his campaign and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. The Trump campaign doing counter-programming, hitting key states.
With Harris at the convention this week, Trump is set to barnstorm swing states with stops in Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona.
ABC's Jacqueline Lee says President Biden will be the keynote speaker tonight in Chicago, symbolically handing off the torch to Harris.
The Harris Walls ticket appears to be invigorating younger Democratic voters.
Hours from the start of the DNC, new polls showing Vice President Kamala Harris transforming the 2024 election dynamic. Voter Ed Friel telling me he was on the fence about Harris, but she won him over.
Then as I started listening to her and following her, I thought, this woman is going to be good for this country.
Harris now with a 6-point lead nationwide among likely voters. But on the top issues in this race, our poll shows former President Donald Trump leading Harris by 10 points on immigration and 9 points on the economy and inflation.
ABC's Mary Alice Parks reporting.
Protesters have also been gathering in Chicago. Various groups are calling for Democrats to make changes in their stance towards the war in Gaza. They also want a big focus this week to be on reproductive rights.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
And right now, if you're traveling on I-15, you've got some southbound delay leaving downtown because of a crash to the left. Northbound, it looks like most of our 215 delays are gone, but a little bit of slowing remains around 700 north. Kind of quiet now after that, some of that craziness in the last hour. Bangor beginning to fill in near 21st South. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a heads up. Construction crews making their way through Washington County. They're going to be resurfacing I-15 between Green Springs Drive and Washington Parkway. It starts at 7 o'clock tonight, and the road will be closed until 7 a.m. tomorrow. That closure, by the way, is going to happen every night until September 9th, so expect lane restrictions and traffic shifts.
Starting today, Guardsman Pass near Brighton Ski Resort will be closed to all traffic. UDOT is repaving the road. It's expected to be open by Thursday.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken making a new push for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The secretary meets with Israeli President Isaac Herzog this morning.
The focus of my visit is intensely on getting the hostages back, getting the ceasefire done.
This is his 9th visit there, and I noticed this morning he said this would be, he considers to be one of the last chances for a ceasefire, so it's important, and it comes as tensions rise between Iran and Hezbollah.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection says the number of arrests for illegal crossings of the border from Mexico fell by 33% during the month of July. Border Protection says this is the lowest level since September of 2020, and they say it's a result of asylum being temporarily suspended by a presidential proclamation issued in June.
A former politician who admitted to making up stories about his past is expected in court today.
Embattled former Congressman George Santos has insisted he is innocent and had vowed to fight criminal charges against him. Just last week, reaffirming his not guilty plea to 23 felony charges, including fraud, identity theft, and misuse of campaign funds.
Now I'm going to have to go and fight to defend myself.
Sources tell ABC News Santos is expected to change his plea to guilty.
ABC's Ike Ajacha reminds us that Santos was expelled from the House of Representatives back in December.
A man was arrested in Murray after police say he stole a car someone had left running and then led police on a strange chase. They say the chase was essentially confined to a parking lot where the suspect drove in circles.
Not going to get away that way. A new trauma gel has been approved by the FDA. It's designed to stop and control bleeding in a matter of seconds. It comes in pre-filled syringes and can be applied to life-threatening injuries like gunshot wounds. It will be available later this year, according to Reuters.
Wildlife officials are letting Utahns get up close and personal with bats. Carla Fay attended Bat Capture Night on Friday, hosted by the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources.
I didn't know that bats were cute and adorable, and there were so many things. I thought that bats were blind. I learned that they're not. It was just a very empowering, informative session. I'm glad I came.
A second Bat Capture Night is planned for later this week at Utah's Mammoth Cave.
We should remind you that although they're cute and adorable, you don't want to play with them.
Yeah.
They can still carry rabies and are a big concern. A local woman doing what she can to help make monarch butterflies a common sight in Utah again. KSL TV's Peter Rosen says the monarch population locally has gone down in part because the milkweed plant that butterflies use to lay their eggs has become less and less common.
So Rachel Taylor started growing milkweed.
Literally within 30 days, I had a monarch laying eggs on plants that were just like this tall.
There it is.
And that summer I counted 70 eggs in my side yard. People started asking me for milkweed plants, and so I started growing them in the dining room.
That's great. She says she has a long list of people also wanting to plant milkweed to help the monarchs make a comeback. KSL News Time 7:09. We've got sun now poking up over I-15 northbound. Let's check the drive with traffic and weather together. Sponsored by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. It's moving well on that camera, Andy.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at I-15 northbound at 11 South.
Oh, yeah. The northbound side is fine. The southbound side's been completely stopped, though, because of a crash near 1300 South. And so people coming through downtown and getting on the freeway at 500 South, either you exit off at that 1300 South collector or you just have to sit and wait for now as crews are probably either cleaning up debris or getting ready to move the vehicle from the left to the right side. That's South 15 in downtown. But it is northbound from Draper to downtown. That's still only a 20-minute travel time. Heather?
We're looking pretty good on the freeways in Weber and Davis counties. No problems right now. I-15, Legacy Parkway, or the West Side Belt. Also a good drive if you go through the mountains on I-84 to and from Morgan. But traffic is definitely filling in, and you're going to see that on some of the areas of I-15 heading south as well as on city streets. Eric?
I-15 northbound in Utah County, no problems there from Provo to Point of the Mountain. northbound if you're heading out to the Wasatch Back. US 40 in the Wasatch Back. That does look good northbound from Heber City up to Park City. I-80 through the mountains. That is also running at a good rate of speed. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast. We've got 67 at 7 a.m. with mostly sunny skies. By high noon, partly cloudy, storms trying to build in the mountaintops. Generally dry by this hour, temperatures around 85. By the afternoon and evening, we've got scattered thunderstorms popping in off the mountains and temperatures topping out right around 91. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 70 degrees downtown.
The Canyon School District goes back to school today. What's new in the district for this year? We'll speak with Jeff Haney from the district coming up on KSL News Radio.
A band from Orem is raising awareness about addiction as it advances in the Rolling Stones American Hitmaker Contest. Tyler Gould is the lead singer of the Tyler Gould Band.
There is a donation portion of the contest that people can donate to get more votes for bands, and all the money accrued from that is going to a foundation called Music Cares.
Gould says voting for the quarterfinals ends Thursday, and they're currently in third place.
WNBA star Caitlin Clark continues to break records. She broke the league's rookie assist record during the Indiana Fever's game against the Seattle Storm. She now has 232 assists. That's almost 10 more than the last record.
You know, Coach Sides had told her at the beginning of the season she was critical of her, and people were wondering why. But she draws so much attention offensively. She kept telling her, look for your teammates.
Yeah.
They're going to be open.
Right.
And, man, she has made some beautiful passes, one in that last game.
And it's helping the team, too. The Fever beat the Storm 92-75.
Yeah. All right, multiple NFL players say they're interested in forming a team, get this, to take part in the L.A. Summer Olympic Games in 2028. Flag football is going to be a part of the L.A. Games.
The look on your face is just priceless.
Breakdancing's going away, and we're getting flag football. Current members of the U.S. flag football team don't like the idea, by the way, of losing their spots to NFL players. I'll bet not. NFL quarterbacks who have expressed interest in being in the Olympics include Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Caleb Williams.
Oh, wow. Aliens and superheroes led the way at the box office.
This weekend at the box office, Disney lost its top spot to another film under the Disney banner.
That space gives me the creeps.
Deadpool and Wolverine dropped to second place, while Alien Romulus took a huge bite out of the box office with $41 million. That was one of the best openings of the 45-year-old Alien franchise. Not bad for a movie originally planned as a streaming exclusive on Hulu.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever.
Marvel's R-rated superhero film settled for number 2, still clawing out $29 million. One of the biggest hits of 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine broke the record this week as the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time.
We break the pattern. Or the pattern breaks us.
It Ends With Us had to settle for third place with $24 million. I'm Kevin Carr.
Look to the sky tonight. If the clouds are clear, we could see the rare super blue moon. You've heard, once in a blue moon this happens.
Right.
This is a super blue moon. When the moon's orbit is closer to Earth than usual when it's full. A seasonal blue moon occurs when there are 4 full moons in a single season. Tonight will be a combination of both, and I was reading, on average, it happens about every 10 years, but sometimes can go as long as 20 years. So
don't miss it.
If you get a chance to see it, take a look at it tonight.
Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, a piece of movie history sold at auction this weekend. Yep, Indiana Jones' iconic fedora sold for $360,000. Holy cow. It was worn by actor Harrison Ford in the second movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It was the most expensive item sold in this round of props. Other items included an Imperial Scout Trooper's white biker scout helmet from Star Wars Return of the Jedi and a ghost costume worn by the stars in the horror movie Scream back in 1996.
By the way, the sale price is almost double that. It was $630,000. We just flipped the digits.
Oh,
on
no.
It. Yeah, $630,000 it sold for.
Oh, my gosh, wow.
Yeah. Kevin Costner's 4-part Western epic filmed right here in Utah is coming to streaming later this week.
Men will come try you. I will take from you until you are wiped clean.
Horizon, an American Saga, will be released on Max on Friday, and
we saw it in theaters. The first part in theaters.
Yeah, and
is long.
You said it was long and a little slow.
Yeah, so maybe it'd be better to watch in streaming because you can pause if you need to.
Because remember, they were supposed to release the second episode of it this month.
Yeah,
and they've delayed that. So now they're going to try and get more people interested, I guess, by putting it on streaming and see if they can boost what might be another slow go of it at the box office. We'll keep an eye on it. KSL News Time now, 7:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah lawmakers have been talking about potentially holding a special session this week, which could focus on at least one major decision recently made by the state Supreme Court. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, a man died and 2 others were injured after lightning hit a fishing boat on Bear River.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic is backed up southbound, leaving downtown. In fact, the slowing begins all the way back before the I-80 turnoff to go towards the airport, all the way down to about 1300 south. The good news is they have reopened the lanes of the freeway. The crash, they moved from the left to the right. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered pop-up monsoon thunderstorms today, then a dry stretch. I'm Matt Johnson.
70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The DNC comes to the Windy City tonight, and we have continuing coverage from ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Democratic National Convention kicks off today in Chicago, weeks after President Biden ended his campaign and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for the nomination. ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers is in Chicago with more.
Tonight, the spotlight is on President Biden as he takes the stage and delivers remarks at the DNC. This is a very different night than what his team was envisioning just a few weeks ago when he was still in the race for the White House. But tonight, aides say he'll make a strong case for Vice President Harris and her running mate Governor Walz, and then hand off the convention to them. Tonight's theme, For the People. Aides to the president say he'll speak about how his administration has worked to ensure democracy prevailed and delivered for Americans and how it must be preserved. Karen Travers, ABC News, Chicago.
You're listening
Back
to ABC
school.
News.
Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
It's the first day of school for Canyon School District.
District spokesman Jeff Haney joins us live. Congratulations on opening day, Jeff. Do you feel ready?
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it's our 16th school year already. The sun is up. Kids are headed to school, and we're starting to see life come to our buildings once again.
Yeah, I know that feels good. What's the focus for you guys this year at the Canyons District?
Well, we do have some targeted approaches to increasing not only student achievement, but helping kids in their mental health. We're really finding those two things. If we focus on those two things, then we'll start to see our students achieve at even higher levels. The big one, chronic absenteeism. 32% of the Canyons District students from elementary to high school were chronically absent last year. That means that they missed more than 10 school days. And kids just don't learn if they're not in school. So we're going to be doing a lot of outreach this year, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages with our parents to work with them to get their kids in school.
How do you handle AI in the Canyons District, Jeff?
That's a good question. It's something that a lot of people in education circles are talking about. Our instructional supports department, which is our curriculum department, has put together a guideline for all of our teachers and faculty and staff about how they can introduce our students to these tools. Because, they're not going to go away. So we may as well talk to students about how they can use them appropriately. And, we're finding that kids, they're digital natives. They'll figure out how to use it. So let's teach them how to use it well and ethically as they work on their assignments for school. Just like you would teach kids to cross a road, you wouldn't teach kids not to cross a road. You teach them how to cross it safely. It's the same with technology. If you teach them how to use the tool well, then that's what will help them down the road.
Speaking of crossing roads, any concerns about transportation in the district?
There's a couple things we want our community to know. First is we are all staffed in our transportation department for the first time in recent memory. We've been able to find bus drivers. Unlike other years, we had such a staffing shortage for a long time. We have bus drivers for every route this year. Next, kids are out and about. Throughout the summer months, all of our commuters were used to driving down the street in neighborhoods without seeing school zones. Well, you know what? In the Canyon School District, the school zone lights are flashing, and we want people to slow down.
Well, we hope you have a terrific first day, Jeff, and a great year in the Canyons District. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Canyon School District spokesman Jeff Haney. He was talking about chronic absenteeism. I saw a story this morning, and there's a new analysis done by the Associated Press and Stanford University that says roughly 1 in 4 students remain chronically absent in the 2022-23 season. Mm-hmm. So it's not just here in Utah, not just in that district.
I think they've seen some improvement in the last year, but man, can you believe we're still struggling with it this much after COVID?
Created habits that have become problems down the road.
For mom and dad as much as for kids.
Oh, for sure. Anyway, we'll continue to watch it with other districts also opening up today on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
Let's check traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Amanda, travel in South 15 pretty clogged up through downtown right now. In fact, the slowing starts at 600 North and goes all the way down to almost 21st South. The crash, they moved from over to the left side in the HOV lane to the far right side down closer to 21st South. So it's going to be a bit to get out of downtown, whether you're getting on at 6 South, coming off of I-80 from the airport to go south on I-15. The fastest way, if you're downtown, is probably to get on at the 900 Southwest Temple on-ramp, and that'll merge you on past all the backups. Heather?
We do have congestion right around Clearfield High School. That includes 1000 East and SR 193 in Clearfield. Southbound I-15 still pretty much at freeway speeds from Ogden all the way to just before you get to 600 North. And then we had an accident in West Haven. That was on 1900 West, but it just cleared a few minutes ago. Eric?
28-minute drive northbound from Payson to Point of the Mountain if you're northbound I-15 in Utah County, out in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs. Right now we're starting to see it bunch up a little bit, Mountain View Corridor, right as it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 approaching Redwood Road and then continuing eastbound on 2100 North. It is slowing down, getting over to the freeway entrance ramps. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing exceptional service from 4 dealers: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast, starting out with some pop-up storms for today. 91 the high. For tomorrow, 96, partly cloudy. We'll go mostly sunny, 95 on your Wednesday. Thursday, mostly sunny, 92. We drop off Friday to 90 degrees, breezy and a chance for storms. We keep scattered storms in the forecast on Saturday, breezy, 83. We fall to 81 for a high on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You know what I love? Good clean air and everything green on the backside of these storms. It's a nice morning out there, 69 degrees, and the 7-day forecast this morning is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We'll check money news next on KSL.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. From locations and caterers to dresses and floral arrangements, planning a wedding can be a stressful and heavy lift. This is where local, full-service wedding and event company Cachet & Co. comes in. Principal planner and designer Cachet Ford joins us with more.
Many people consider Utah the wedding capital of the United States because, unlike many others, we see weddings year-round and every season on any day of the week. Utah has a stunning landscape that attracts couples looking for outdoorsy mountain weddings with unmatched views and some pretty incredible service. I launched Cachet & Co. events in 2022 after several years in the wedding industry to help couples plan and design colorful, vibrant, personal weddings. Each year, we partner with some of Utah's best wedding professionals to bring these beautiful celebrations to life. Whether couples are looking for a winter wedding on the slopes or a summer wedding in the valley, we're able to help them understand the financial investment of their celebration and help them make the best decisions to have their dream wedding day. We'd love to help you in planning your special day too. Find out more at cachet.co.
Cachet & Co. is here to help you create the wedding of your dreams. They specialize in designing custom, colorful weddings with modern stylings across the Wasatch Front. To learn more about the services they provide, visit their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
we have some exciting news to announce.
Master Electrical Service has joined Mountain Home Services.
And I can speak from experience, Deb. Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago, and it's been amazing.
And we know Master Electrical Service has been your trusted source for all your electrical needs, like your EV chargers, your generators, and recessed lighting.
But now that they've joined Mountain Home Services, they can help you with your HVAC, your heating and air, as well as your plumbing.
And it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee. I love the upfront pricing guarantee because it means no hidden fees.
100% satisfaction guarantee as well.
Master Electrical Service has been the name you trust since 1954.
They're the company we trust, and so can you.
Check them out now at mountainhomeutah.com.
That's mountainhomeutah.com, or give them a call at 801-543-2222. So easy to remember, 801-543-2222.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Rivian is suspending production of its electric commercial delivery van due to a shortage of parts. Shares were down 4% following the news.
Goldman Sachs says the odds of U.S. slipping into a recession are dropping. The investment bank lowered the chances from 25 to 20% following the release of jobless claims and retail sales.
We were complaining about car insurance last week.
Get ready to complain some more.
Yeah, because it's going up again. A recent report from Insurify shows that the costs have gone up 15%. Utah's rate is expected to increase by 24% by the end of the year compared to the start of the year.
So add those two together, 24-15. That's almost a 40% jump over the by year's end. That's crazy. All right, futures just ahead of the bell. We don't mind these numbers going up. 45 on the Dow. We're up about 10 on the S&P, and the Nasdaq in the green this hour by 31.
All the cars involved in that southbound I-15 crash near 13th South have been moved to the right shoulder, but there are plenty of delays there. We'll check it. Traffic and weather next.
Someone asked me, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. More than a dozen. All to keep me connected to my good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting. Xfinity knows the number of devices we connect to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds. For real. Now through September 21st, new customers can get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Plus, get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 monthly value included. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment taxes and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
The Democratic National Convention.
Already, I'm happy to know that we have enough delegates to secure the nomination.
What are the party's plans to move the country forward? Get full coverage mornings and afternoons and join the conversation middays. The Democratic National Convention this week on KSL News Radio.
Join me this Friday. I will be at the Salt Lake NPS store from 3 to 5 in the afternoon on your way home this Friday. They're at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
7:29 means traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Where are you going to start, Andy?
Well, going to start with that southbound delay through downtown between 600 North and 1300 South. It actually looks like it's broken into two spots now. Southbound delays before 600 North, and then the southbound delays from 500 South's on-ramp down to where the crash is on the right shoulder near 21st South. If you're on North 15, got a little bit of delay creeping in near 53rd South in Murray, and then some slowing switching from North 15 onto eastbound 80 in South Salt Lake. Heather?
Our biggest areas of delay in Davis County are in front of Northridge High School in Layton, as well as Clearfield High School on 1000 East. That's in both directions. And then you have a lot of traffic filling in on US 89, where you try to merge on with I-84, as well as at the Harrison Boulevard interchange in South Ogden. Southbound I-15 has most of our traffic still, but you have good speeds from Ogden to about Beck Street. Eric.
We got some northbound slowing on SR 36 in Tooele County. This is in Stansbury from between the Stansbury Park and Pole Canyon intersections. Past that, going onto the freeway at Lake Point doesn't seem to be a problem. I-15 Utah County, no trouble there. Getting over to the freeway 2100 north, that's pretty slow. Eastbound, first approaching Redwood Road and then all the way over to the freeway entrance ramps themselves. Find out more about how your kitchen or bath can be the kitchen or bath of your dreams in just 3 days. Just visit 3daykitchen.com. That's 3daykitchen.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a chance of thunderstorms continuing today. It's about a 30% chance. Today's high 91. Right now it's 68 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
Another huge group of kids headed back to school today.
Today, kids in the Murray and Canyon school districts are headed back to the classroom. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more. Adam?
Amanda, Canyons alone's welcoming back about 33,000 kids today. Believe it or not, this is already their 16th school year since the district was formed.
For the first new school district to be created in Utah in nearly a century. It's kind of hard to believe so much time has passed since our first day in 2009.
I'm actually here at the site of the new Union Middle School in Sandy. It's first day in operation. Kids coming in, the cheers from their teachers, balloon arches up as they're being welcomed back to class. And he tells me this is also the first year their kindergartners are starting the same day as the rest of their 1st to 12th grade students. And as we heard of him just a few minutes ago, it's a big goal for this year: support students and combat chronic absenteeism. Live in Sandy, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
I love hearing the cheers in the background as they head in. An elementary school principal in Murray is making sure students with special needs aren't left out as the new school year begins.
Even though Leah Smith is a brand new principal at Viewmont Elementary in Murray, she's already hearing out parents and taking action.
We're blessed with a big population of students with extensive needs. And last year they weren't really included in a lot of our specials or a lot of our field trips, so we're making that a really big point.
Smith is finding new ways to involve those kids in STEM, PE, and field trips so all students feel included and welcome. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Other Utah school districts welcoming their kids back to the classroom this week. The Wasatch School District has their first day today. Tomorrow, students in Salt Lake, Jordan, Park City, and Morgan County school districts will head back to school.
Back to school means teachers are often spending their own money, too, to equip their classrooms. American Federation of Teachers, Utah President Brad Acey says that classroom supplies are at the bottom of the list for school funds.
Improvements on buildings. There's programs, there's computers, there's equipment that needs to be paid for. For basic needs, it pretty much trickles out by the time it makes it down.
He says the good news is this year teachers were given a larger reimbursement than most years. Other years, Acey says he's known many teachers who spend hundreds and even up to $1,000 on basic classroom supplies.
Utah teachers will soon be required to wear panic alert devices so they're better prepared in case of emergencies. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has more on the Weber School District's rollout of the plan.
A state law went into effect earlier this year.
Every teacher in every classroom have a wearable panic alert device. Purpose of that device is if there was something happening, they could activate that and get help on the way.
Lane Finley from the Weber School District says so far about 45% of their 49 schools are equipped with these devices, but they aren't able to roll them out all at once because it's such a huge expense. They run anywhere from around $700,000 to $900,000 per high school. Finley says they're looking to take advantage of as many state and federal grants as possible. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Joe Biden will be the keynote speaker tonight as the Democrats kick off their national convention. ABC News Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein is there.
Joe Biden is yesterday's news for this party right now, and it's not a mistake that he's being given a prime speaking spot on Monday. Then he goes off on vacation in California. We're going to see Vice President Harris make some appearances throughout the week, including, we're told, during President Biden's speech.
Former President Donald Trump spending this week in battleground states looking to offer a counter message and rally support.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And right now, travel on South 15, still having some issues between North Salt Lake and the 600 North exit in Salt Lake City. Plus, you still got some slowing passing the crash around 1700 South. 201 freeways backing up in West Valley near Bangerter and 3200 West. And we've got some pretty thick delays now on Bangor and Mountain View going north and West Valley. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thousands of gallons of spilled fuel forced the closure of Spanish Fork Canyon last night. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live with the details. Brianna?
Tim, Sunday afternoon, Highway 6 was closed after a semi rolled, hitting a Maverick fuel truck and puncturing the tank. Around 6,000 gallons of gas spilled onto the road and flowed down the embankment. The canyon was closed for 5 hours while a hazmat team cleared the wreck. One of the drivers was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So far, we don't know which driver it was. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Many of us will grab a caffeinated beverage this morning to help us get out the door. But a new study says too much caffeine can increase the chances of heart disease. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson joins us live. Verl?
Amanda, consistently drinking 400 or more milligrams of caffeine could lead to a higher chance of having heart problems. That's like drinking 2 energy drinks, 4 cups of coffee, or 10 soda cans a day. Researchers from the Zydus Medical College and Hospital in India studied how caffeine affects heart rate and blood pressure, finding almost 20% of the people they studied drank 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which dramatically increased their heart rate and blood pressure. With women working in business or management roles, they found drank the most caffeine. Reporting live, Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
The former NFL player at the center of the 2009 Oscar-nominated movie The Blind Side is explaining why he filed a lawsuit against the family who took him in. Michael Orr says his vulnerability at the time allowed the family to take advantage of him. We get the details from ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
He alleges the Tuohys took advantage of him, depriving him of millions. At the age of 18, Orr says he thought he was signing adoption papers, but it ended up being a conservatorship, allowing the Tuohys to take advantage of his finances for nearly 20 years.
The Tuohys, meantime, are denying any wrongdoing.
Mountain View Corridor is experiencing some big delays northbound around 35th South in West Valley. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I am listening for the traffic.
I'll always know if somebody's going to be late to work.
That's often what's on when I'm driving.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
On KSL News Radio.
Attention homeowners considering roof replacement in 2024. Light up your home this August with Master Roofing. Schedule your roof replacement by September 10th and receive a free Velux sun tunnel valued at $1,200. Perfect for brightening your bathrooms and hallways. Don't miss out. Visit masterroofingutah.com to schedule your free assessment and claim your free Velux sun tunnel. Call 801-383-0072 or visit masterroofingutah.com today. Light up your home with Master Roofing.
You start your mornings in it.
Breakfast.
Bathe your kids in it. Talk, laugh, and play in it. But when it comes to paying for your kids' college with it, you don't even consider it. It's your home. Tap into it with HomeTap. Tap into the money you already have with no monthly payments. Learn more about funding and education and so much more at HomeTap.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
We have another week of coverage of back to school for you as many get back to it today. The Murray, the Canyons District, Wasatch is also headed back, so watch for the kids on their way in right about now. Be careful as you head through those residential areas.
7:39 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, traveled on I-15, increasing slowdowns northbound between Bluffdale and Sandy, plus additional backups around 53rd South and Murray. Some 215 slowdowns along the South Belt. right before I-15 as you pass the Murray Golf Course. And on 201 itself, you're still slow between 4800 West all the way over into the construction at 3200 West. Heather?
No delays yet. Southbound I-15 from Ogden to about Beck Street, but after that you'll have a few brake lights the rest of the way into downtown Salt Lake City. We're also picking up some slowing on Legacy Parkway southbound through Farmington into Centerville. Northbound on Legacy Parkway, you're going to have lane restrictions just after you get on from the west side belt, but most of our construction right now is on, or congestion is on the city streets and especially around any school zones. Eric.
We got your usual slowdowns trying to get over to I-15 in the north part of Utah County from Redwood Road over to the freeway entrances, 2100 North, Pioneer Crossing, and even Lehigh's Main Street getting a little bit busy in that direction. I-15, once you get there, looks great throughout Utah County. It's a 24-minute drive from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. Business owners, make your customers feel like MVPs with smooth, safe, pothole-free parking lot, asphalt, or concrete surface repairs from GoPave Utah. Check them out at gopavutah.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered afternoon and evening storms are possible today with a high of 91. Overnight, things calm down. We'll go partly cloudy with a low of 70. For your Tuesday, 96, partly cloudy skies, but residual monsoon moisture could allow for a couple of mountain pop-up storms. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
With all that sunshine downtown, 69 degrees.
And coming up in just a moment, we'll talk with Boyd Matheson about the kickoff of the Democratic National Convention. That's just ahead on KSL.
First of all, let's check in with Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News here. It's brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
Do you remember the good old days? I sure do. I can name almost any pop song from the 1970s in one note. That is my superpower in this world. Here, listen. I know instantly. That's Devil Went Down to Georgia. Or how about this? Play that funky music, Wild Cherry. One more. Ready? Easy. American Pie.
Time ago.
One note. The 70s were the greatest decade because, no? Well, it's true. Inflation hit 13%, and the unemployment rate was like 8%. You had Vietnam protests. I get it, but it was the best decade because in the 1970s, I was 11 years old. See, researchers at YouGov asked 2,000 people what was the best decade for music, for TV, for work-life balance, politics. When were families the happiest? And there was no pattern. There is no greatest decade. But when they looked at the survey a different way, by age of the respondent, on average, Americans think times were best when they were 11 years old. Think back to when you were 11. When I was, this was the song I loved. And ironically, this song was a goodbye to the good old days.
We started singing bye, Miss American Pie.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
And Jeff's Minute brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Because of a surgery I had, it put me in a position where I had to learn to walk again. I had no hope for any more income. We had an IRS burden of about $36,000. With no income and only enough money to keep paying the bills, we had to make a decision. I was driving home from Salt Lake one day and I heard a commercial on the radio about Jordan Wilcox. I got home, my wife and I, we talked about it, and we made the decision to give Jordan Wilcox a call. We met with Jordan at his office, and they had a plan in place for me almost immediately. And because of the good work of the folks at Jordan Wilcox's office, that burden was reduced to about $895. When we found out that it was only $895, it was like the worst burden in the world had been taken off from our shoulders.
Don't face the IRS alone. I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation. Let's solve your tax problems. That's taxhelput.com.
Well, I just noticed there have been a couple of these stories rolling out over the last 20 minutes or so, Amanda, that Phil Donahue has passed away at the age of 88. He and Marlo Thomas married for about 44 years.
I actually called into his show once.
Really?
And he took the call, so I had a chance to talk to him live on the air.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Even Oprah Winfrey described Phil Donahue as a trailblazer who invented Smart Talk in the afternoon. Her show was basically patterned identical after his. But I used,
I used to love it.
watch
Oh, me too. He'd go running up into the audience with a microphone to get everybody's take.
Anyway, Phil Donahue's passed away at the age of 88 this morning. KSL News Time, 7:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
lightning struck and killed one man and injured two others while they were out night fishing in Box Elder County. I'm KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
Second, the Canyons and Murray school districts are among those welcoming kids back for their first day of school this morning.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic is sluggish on the northbound side going up through the south end of the valley, Draper, and then again in Murray. We've got some slowdown southbound leaving downtown because of a crash on the right shoulder near 17th South, and it's really backing up southbound on Legacy now from Farmington to Centerville. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scatter storms in the forecast, then we get back to dry weather. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Antony Blinken's in the Middle East for the 9th time trying to negotiate a ceasefire. Let's get the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the time is now to conclude a Gaza ceasefire agreement that will return all of the hostages taken by Hamas on October 7th and bring relief to Palestinians suffering after more than 10 months of bombings in Gaza. Blinken in Tel Aviv for more Middle East talks. Pro-Palestinian protesters among those marching in Chicago as the Democrats begin their national convention.
Demanding a restoration of abortion rights and an end to U.S. involvement in Gaza, protesters marched in downtown Chicago Sunday.
We think that the Democrats are in the best position to respond to our demands.
Protest organizer Ann Rumberger.
They're kind of our natural allies, but they do need to feel some pressure from the left.
Demonstrations are planned each day of this convention, sometimes more than one in a day. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Chicago.
President Biden will be delivering the keynote address tonight at the convention. Kamala Harris expected to take the stage with him. She'll accept the nomination Thursday. This is ABC News.
Utah's Morning News has inside sources.
We have inside sources on the Democratic National Convention that kicks off tonight.
The host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson, joins us live. So tonight we hear from the president.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be sort of his swan song. It will be very fast. I'm sure it will be long on memories and looking back. And then, of course, there'll be that passing of the torch kind of moment. So it will be interesting to see what kind of speech he has framed. Clearly not the speech Joe Biden was planning on giving just 3.5, 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty stunning thing. And it will be interesting to see how the Democratic convention plays out in terms of how they stage all of this. They've got a lot of big names coming on. And so the messaging will be very interesting. It will be very much Monday will be Nostalgia Day. I think we'll be looking back a lot of that. And then the real challenge is how do they pivot forward and tee everything up for the vice president to receive the nomination on Thursday.
Yeah, we just barely learned about the economic policies that Kamala Harris wants to push forward. Do they tackle that at the convention or no?
I don't. That's tough to do at a convention. You've got a crowd that just really wants to cheer and scream and punch balloons in the air. Yeah. So it's tough to get into the nitty gritty of policy. And she didn't really lay out any nitty gritty policies, even in the speech in North Carolina on Friday. In fact, it was interesting, roundly criticized from Washington Post to the New York Times, saying these were unserious proposals, other than the child tax credit. That was one where it's like there's some real substance there. The other, both the New York Times and the Post said that's just populist politics. And so she's got a long way to go in terms of that, but she has an opportunity to do that this week. She's also going to have a very high bar. She is following Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Pete Buttigieg. I mean, some people who really know how to light up a crowd.
Yeah.
And so part of me as a communications guy wonders, whoa, are they really setting her up to really knock it out? It could be a little. She's got a high bar. She's got a lot of work to do this week.
So Hillary Clinton is today.
Yes.
So bittersweet from both Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, I imagine.
Definitely. A lot of what might have been. Kind of laced into that. So it'll be interesting to see where Hillary Clinton goes, if she leans into her experience as Secretary of State, and clearly foreign policy is on the agenda, and so that'll be an interesting thing to see.
It's kind of the turning of the page for the party, isn't it, really?
It is, and the question will be, can they turn the page? We have seen on the Republican side, Donald Trump has been unwilling to turn the page. He's still running as if it's 2016. So the challenge for the Democrats is they have an opportunity to turn the page. Will they turn the page? It is so hard for politicians and political parties to turn the page. But we have to remember, politics is never about what was. It's not about what is. It's always about what's next. And who does that first and best? will win on the first Tuesday of November.
We'll be listening tonight for sure, and this afternoon to Inside Sources. Boyd Matheson, thank you so much.
It is you hear about must viewing on TV. It's must listening, especially during the election cycle here to Inside Sources every afternoon. All right, 7:49. Let's get a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. That's still a slow spot on I-15, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crash on South 15 over to the left, right around 1700 South. So it's kept traffic leaving downtown to go south towards Murray. Busy this morning as a result of that. North 15's got the usual slowdowns around Bangerter Highway, 7200 and 5300 South. Bangerter's really thick in both Taylorsville and West Valley, and the 201 freeway's backed up in Magna, and now from Mountain View all the way over to 3200 West. Heather?
Well, we've got a little bit of slowing on Legacy Parkway, right where you get on from either US 89 or I-15 in Farmington down into Centerville. Then as you exit Legacy Parkway onto the west side belt, that is slow the entire distance from Legacy all the way down to I-80 where you turn off to the airport. Now, if you stick with I-15 southbound, your only delay is going to be as you approach downtown Salt Lake City. Eric.
Foothill Drive slow northbound from I-80 up to about 1300 south if you're en route to the University of Utah. Getting over to the freeway in Utah County, a bit of a problem north of Utah Lake, Pioneer Crossing, Lehigh's Main Street, 2100 north, all of them slow eastbound from Redwood Road over to the freeway. It's the end of summer sale with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $99 plus 20% off your air duct cleaning. Visit zerores.com and book your appointment today. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that 7-day forecast now, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Hello, Matt Johnson.
Hello, and good morning. Got that sunshine out there. We'll go for 91 today and a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Some of these could pack some heavy rainfall yet again. Tomorrow, drier air starts to filter in. We'll go partly cloudy, maybe a mountain storm. High of 96. 95, mostly sunny skies on your Monday. We keep it dry through Thursday, so a 3-day stretch of dry weather. But then Friday, chance for storms, 90 of the temperature. Breezy on Saturday, also looking at a chance for storms, but a high of only 83. Wait for it. Sunday's got a high of 81 degrees. That's 10 below the normal if we clock that.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Keep us out of the triple digits. My prediction's still hanging in there. Right now in Salt Lake City, it really is beautiful out there. 69 degrees.
No matter the size of your business, everyone needs IT help. Everyone needs IT knowledge, which, by the way, changes every day. And I know there must be some stress whether you're a small business owner or a large business owner. How do I keep my business on the cutting edge without spending a fortune? Well, the answer might be Les Olson IT.
We really have turned that corner, haven't we, where every business has to be concerned about technology in the future.
There's an IT component to everything.
Used to be there were little groups of businesses that would have to, worry about it, but now it's everybody if you're going to compete in the future. And Les Olson IT has ways to do that, everything from backing up to data storage to hardware development. And as we've described to you before, they're security systems, their surveillance and security systems are some of the best anywhere, right down to facial recognition.
Yeah, and maybe they just need to do a once-over to say, all right, is my data safe? Do I have everything I need to make sure I have a safe network, let alone expand it?
And we're talking about safety not just for your clients, but also your employees.
Your employees, yeah.
So get to know Les Olson IT. They have 9 locations now from Logan to Las Vegas.
Go to lesolson.com.
Get back to school ready with Gillette Services. Ensure your home's comfort with expert HVAC solutions. Mention this ad and get 15% off. Call 385-GET-COOL today.
Nearly 70% of Utah's land is controlled by the federal government, severely limiting Utah's ability to actively manage and protect our natural resources. Our families, businesses, and communities know there's a better way. Utahns have been good stewards of our public lands for generations. That's why we're asking each and every Utahn to get informed, speak up, and learn more at standforourland.utah.gov.
In a world where ugly siding, leaky gutters, and inefficient windows are sapping homeowners of their will to live, one company must save us all. This year, join RGS Exteriors as it embarks on a mission to eliminate outdated home exteriors, one Utah home at a time. Every plank of old, ugly siding must be replaced. Every leaky gutter must be eradicated. Every inefficient, energy-sapping window must be vanquished. once and for all. Begin your epic remodeling quest by calling RGS Exteriors for a free estimate. Discover how a heroic team of experts will save your siding, gutters, or windows for a fair, no-nonsense price. Call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or journey online to rgsexteriors.com. RGS Exteriors, coming soon to a home near you.
Dave and Dujanovic. New school year, new approach to safety. Teachers now wearing panic buttons in case of an emergency. But it's the price tag to taxpayers that caught my attention. Let's talk about it today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Market's still in the green here as we get the day started. The Dow is up 82. That's about 0.2%. The S&P is up 7, and the NASDAQ on the plus side now by 9.
It's time for Cougar Track, sponsored by America First Credit Union, and here is BYU insider Mitch Harper.
So much attention is given to BYU's offense, but BYU defense also has questions that need answering this fall, particularly in the pass rush, but also their havoc rate. It's a defensive stat that measures a range of impact plays in a given game. BYU defensive ends coach Kelly Papinga broke down the importance of havoc.
Key to more havoc. Well, I just went over this with my guys yesterday. There's actually 7 things that are havoc. So there's sacks, there's TFLs, there's pass breakups, there's quarterback hurries, there's interceptions, there's fumble recoveries, and forced fumbles. So those 7 things is what the NCAA actually, that's a statistical, did you know that was a stat? Yep. Havoc. Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do there, right?
Last season, BYU had a havoc rate of 14.6%. That ranked 11th in the Big 12 Conference in that metric. They'll look to improve that number in 2024. And for more on BYU's defense, go to KSLSports.com. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. Take control of your window treatments with Motorized by 3 Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3 Day Blinds app. 3 Day Blinds has specialized in window treatments for more than 40 years, and it's the name people trust. At 3 Day Blinds, we have stylish and functional window treatments for any occasion. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Classrooms are filling up again. Bus drivers are learning their routes. And teachers are breaking out homework.
Turn to page 12.
Listen, with so many kids back outside, go easy on the gas pedal. Take a few extra seconds to look for bikes and overstuffed backpacks. Help make the start of school
Quiet down.
safer.
That's better.
A friendly reminder from everyone at KSL News Radio.
7:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Amanda, travel on North 15, slow in Midvale, but stop and go southbound from downtown, towards the crash at 1500 South. We do have a northbound crash on the left shoulder near 7200 south, but that doesn't appear to be the cause of delay. It just happens to be part of all the slowing that goes between 90th and 215. Heather?
We still have a bit of slowing on Legacy Parkway southbound from Farmington to Centerville. And as you transition from Legacy Parkway onto the west side belt, you'll also see the brake lights from Legacy all the way down to the I-80 West turnoff to the airport. Southbound I-15 for the most part is going to be at freeway speeds from Ogden to about Beck Street in Salt Lake, but after that you hit the brakes. And then you've got good speeds on the other major freeways in Weber and Davis counties. Eric?
Got a splotch of southbound slowing I-15 Utah County going by the Pleasant Grove Boulevard exit, but northbound looks just fine. Get triple reward points on your Rewards Visa card from Cyprus Credit Union when you spend on gas and travel from now through August. Learn more or apply today at cypruscu.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
91 for a high. We're not done with those showers yet. 30% chance we'll see some more showers this afternoon in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
There are talks on Capitol Hill about state lawmakers potentially holding a special session this week.
It's possible it could have to do with at least one major decision by the Utah Supreme Court regarding ballot initiatives or abortion. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, two members of the Utah House have confirmed with KSL TV that they held closed caucus meetings late last week. They talked about potentially putting a constitutional amendment on the ballot in November. Now, that's in regard potentially to the state Supreme Court ruling recently in a lawsuit over how the legislature drew our current congressional voting maps, ruling that the state constitution protected a voter-led ballot initiative that really set up how they were drawn before we got the new ones. Well, we also know one lawmaker told us previously he wanted state leadership to call a special session to potentially pass a new temporary statewide abortion ban after the high court allowed the state's near total ban to remain on hold, as it has been for pretty much 2 years now. We'll keep you updated as those talks continue. We get more confirmed details. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Governor Tim Walz have been making a few battleground state stops before heading to the convention in Chicago tonight.
This is more than just a game.
It wasn't exactly Friday Night Lights, but Sunday afternoon, Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz, or Coach Walz as she frequently calls him, stopped by football practice at Aliquippa High School in western Pennsylvania.
Kids played hard.
The powerhouse football team won its 5th state title last year. Legendary Chicago Bears coach Mike Ditka played there. The Harris campaign is said to be planning to dispatch Walz, a former high school football coach, to games this fall to do voter outreach in small towns.
It is just fun as heck to play the game.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Chicago.
Tonight, President Joe Biden will be the keynote speaker at the convention, symbolically passing along the torch to Harris.
So sorry about that. A new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll shows the Harris-Walz ticket has momentum heading into their convention, but former President Trump is still leading in some categories. More from ABC's Christian Cordero in Chicago.
Trump still has the upper hand on issues related to immigration, and according to the same poll, Trump leads Harris by 9 points in trust to handle the economy and inflation.
Protesters have gathered on the streets of Chicago ahead of the DNC. The chants addresses reproductive and LGBTQ rights, as well as a call to the end of the war in Gaza.
There is plenty of damage left behind from the thunderstorms that rolled through this weekend. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson begins our live team coverage. Severe Utah weather. Verl?
Amanda, we've got emails with pictures and videos of flooding across the state from St. George and Fountain Green up to Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain. We saw water coming into basements from window wells, people digging trenches to lead the water away, and people working to save family pictures and memories damaged by the water. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says Fountain Green got 3 inches of rain yesterday, while eastern St. George saw a little over an inch come down. He says there's a chance of storms today before we dry out for the next few days. Reporting live, Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
One man died, 2 others injured after lightning struck their fishing boat when thunderstorms rolled through. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis continues on live team coverage of severe Utah weather. Brianna?
Tim, the 3 had been out on the Bear River at a popular night fishing location when lightning struck, capsizing their boat and throwing the 3 overboard. 2 of the men made it to shore and saw the third go under the water but never saw him come back up. Several agencies searched the area using sonar and located the body. Rescue divers were then able to retrieve it. One of the men is still in the hospital and the other has been released. No names are being released out of respect for the families while they're being notified. Reporting live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
You can read more about the latest storms, see pictures of storm damage, and get an update on the forecast on our website, kslnewsradio.com.
Andy's back with your first look traffic.
Have a lot of slowdowns out there right now. North 15, basically from 90th South up to about 53rd South in Murray. You'll have to pass a crash on the left shoulder as well in the middle of all that in Midvale. South 15, they got some of the crash cleaned up at 1700 South, but we still got slower than usual traffic on I-15 through Salt Lake. And then Foothill's really backed up. First day of classes at the U today, and so that's been really slow this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A man is in the hospital after an officer-involved shooting in Roy over the weekend, and the neighbors still don't know what led to the shooting. KSL TV's Brianna Chavez has been speaking to people in the neighborhood.
Well, it had to be at least 20, 30 shots, and I was sitting right by my window in our living room. One of those bullets could have come flying by and hit one of my kids or something like that.
Videos show police surrounding a home just before shots were fired. We're hoping to get an update from police today to better explain what led to the shooting. The Weber County Critical Incident Task Force will now lead the investigation.
Construction crews are making their way through Washington County. They're going to be resurfacing I-15 between Green Spring Drive and Washington Parkway. It'll start at 7 p.m. tonight, and then the road is closed until 7 a.m. tomorrow, and that closure is going to repeat every night until September 9th, so expect some lane restrictions and some traffic shifts.
An Orem band has advanced to the quarterfinals of the Rolling Stones American Hitmaker contest. Tyler Gould is the lead singer of the Tyler Gould Band, and he says money raised through votes will be used to help people in the music industry struggling with addictions.
Music for me, I can say literally saved my life. I struggled with an addiction for a long time. For about 10 years of my life, I struggled with addiction.
Voting for the quarterfinals will close on Thursday.
A group of Utahns spent Friday night learning all about bats. It was part of a bat capture night with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. The captured bats were measured and weighed within arm's reach of curious viewers.
Bats are one of those where there's a lot of excitement around them, but a lot of things that people may not know. So hosting events like this is a great way to be able to inform the public.
Yeah, we had a texter who told us that they had to have rabies shots because they had come in close contact with a bat, so you do need to be careful. Wildlife recreation specialist Michael Packer says about 70 people attended with around 300 others on a waiting list. There's a second bat capture night planned for later this week at Mammoth Cave.
The U is back in session today. The new semester begins, so that means we've got slow traffic northbound Foothill Boulevard heading from I-80 toward the U. We'll check traffic and weather coming up next.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
You've got voices like Boyd Matheson. I enjoy his measured approach to things. A very balanced view.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
We have some exciting news to announce.
Master Electrical Service has joined Mountain Home Services.
And I can speak from experience, Deb. Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago, and it's been amazing.
And we know Master Electrical Service has been your trusted source for all your electrical needs, like your EV chargers, your generators, and recessed lighting.
But now that they've joined Mountain Home Services, they can help you with your HVAC, your heating and air, as well as your plumbing.
And it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee. I love the upfront pricing guarantee because it means no hidden fees.
100% satisfaction guarantee as well.
Master Electrical Service has been the name you trust since 1954.
They're the company we trust, and so can you.
Check them out now at mountainhomeutah.com.
That's mountainhomeutah.com, or give them a call at 801-543-2222. So easy to remember, 801-543-2222.
IVC is celebrating 20 years providing quality service in Utah. You've probably heard their saying by now, life starts when the pain stops. IVC is the most trusted interventional and vein center in the state, and they've been voted Best of Utah Valley 10 years running. The 7 physicians at IVC provide state-of-the-art, comprehensive vein care with many years of experience. The team at IVC takes the time to get to know you and your veins so you're comfortable with the right diagnosis and the right treatment. Patients are like family at IVC. You've also heard many radio ads over the years with real people describing how IVC has dramatically improved their quality of life by eliminating the pain and discomfort caused by varicose veins. Well, what are you waiting for? Don't let vein disease slow you down even one more day, because life starts when the pain stops. Visit ivein.com today to set up a free screening. That's ivein.com.
You know, with all the rumblings that there may be a special legislative session held this week, we have all of our sources being worked this morning. And should that happen, of course, we'll have full coverage for you here on KSL News Radio, so look forward to that. It's 8:09, so let's get a look at how the drive is shaping up this morning. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Man, that's been slow to clear on I-15, hasn't it?
Yeah, it happened on one side of the freeway. They moved it over to the other from the left to the right side, and now the final cleanup's happening. South 15 around 1700 South. There's still some slowing behind it, but traffic's moving a lot more consistently now. Some of the delays have broken up at Point of the Mountain, but if you're traveling through Draper right now, 123rd to 106th is going to be pretty thick, as well as between about 7200 South and 5300 South. Heather?
We've got a lot of congestion in Roy on 5600 South. It's all eastbound trying to get to I-15. Once you hop on the freeway, you're mostly at freeway speeds until you hit Beck Street in North Salt Lake. Then you really slow down all the way through downtown Salt Lake City. You're also going to see a little bit of brake light showing up as you transition from Legacy Parkway southbound onto the West Side Belt, trying to get to the airport. Eric.
Here's some more northbound delays in Salt Lake County. Mountain View Corridor approaching 35th South, Bangerter Highway approaching the 201 Highway, Foothill Drive from I-80 up to the University of Utah. In Utah County, northbound and southbound slowdowns in Linden, getting over to the freeway from Redwood Road, pretty slow on the eastbound 2100 North, as well as Pioneer Crossing. Two Brothers Mattress is having their huge Labor Day sale. Save up to $900 on Serta mattresses. Visit one of their 5 stores and see all their sale prices at twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecasting a high of 91 today with pop-up scattered storms by afternoon and evening. 70 overnight with partly cloudy skies. It'll rise right back to 96 for your Tuesday afternoon. Partly cloudy with a slight chance for storms at the south end of the Wasatch and at the mountaintops. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I'm just fixated on that 81-degree high for Sunday. That looks really good. It's nice out there, too, right now, 70 degrees.
A new study from Pew Research is shedding some light on challenges that schools are facing with their students. We'll talk more with Dave Noriega about that just ahead.
You'll always find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. We dog sat again over the weekend. So that means Dewey, the 80-pound bulldog, who just loves to drool everywhere, you can follow his trail through the house. And it's one of the reasons we decided to wait to call our friends at Zero Res to get the carpet cleaned, because we knew we were dog sitting.
Well, you know, you have a great deal right now. It's 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $99. So if you have an issue like that, or maybe it's just been a while, why not do 3 rooms for $99?
And by the way, Dewey likes to sleep sometimes on the couch, so the upholstery also needs to be Zero Resified. And yes, they can do that too. They can also take care of your tile, just about any surface really in your home. And when we talk about Zero Resified, we're talking about that patented process where they don't use any harsh chemicals, no soap, so they don't have to drown your carpet to get it out.
And they can also clean your air ducts, and it's 20% off that right now. If you've never had your air ducts cleaned, the first time we ever had our air ducts cleaned, and our home was probably, 15, 20 years old, the first time we ever did it, and they found construction materials.
I'm sure. And they probably live in all of ours.
Oh, yeah. And once they clean them, the air in your house is just so much better.
Get it Zero Resified today and take advantage of the 3 rooms of carpet cleaned offer for just $99. Call 801-288-9376. That's 801-288-ZERO.
Or go to ZeroRes.com.
Most people are coming in because they have a problem, and they have all kinds of hopes and aspirations and things they want to do. And they're finally walking into the Good Feet store. I'm ready to dive in there and help them find a solution to their problem.
You're listening to Beth, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So this woman walks in. She's literally got tears coming out of her eyes. I'm going to Turkey. I'm going to be walking and walking and walking. I've wanted to go there my entire life. I can't walk, and I don't know what to do, so help me. And I helped her.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people live the life they love. without letting their feet get in the way.
She called me and told me what a wonderful time she had on her trip, was virtually pain-free, that I had literally saved her life. I'm gonna cry. You just can't replace that.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Farmington, Riverton, or Sandy for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
There are any number of reasons you might consider selling your home. To move closer to family, live within a smaller budget, or just wanting a change of scenery. Whatever your reasons, having to figure out all the various housing market trends in your area may not be what you signed up for. That's where an agent who is a realtor comes in. Realtors have the expertise to help you find the right price and navigate the process to sell your home in a way that's right for you. That's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
more kids are headed back to the classroom this week. Today, kids in the Canyons, Murray City, and Wasatch school districts have their first day of the school year. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Utah lawmakers have been talking about potentially holding a special session this week. Topics could include abortion and ballot initiatives.
Third, let's get the latest on the drive with traffic and weather together.
Heavy traffic scattered between Draper and Midvale still. Foothills backed up. It's the first day of classes up at the U, so it's been busier than usual. Bangerter's slow over on the west side near 201. And we've got some South 215 slowdowns coming down towards the I-80 turn by the airport. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered pop-up monsoon thunderstorms today, then a dry stretch. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
We learned this morning that Phil Donahue has passed away. Let's get the latest now from ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Before there was Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Phil and Jerry Springer, there was Phil Donahue. The groundbreaking TV talk show host has died.
Did the Holocaust really happen?
So you were a little girl and you lived in a white neighborhood?
These young men want to get married, and they're serious about it. They're called club kids.
Those are some of the early Phil Donahue show topics from the early 80s. In an early 90s interview with ABC News, Phil Donahue was asked if he felt like a pioneer.
You know, if somebody wants to give us some credit for bringing the studio audience to the attention of the daytime schedule, I'll certainly take that. There's a word for this. It's called democracy, and that's, I'm proud to say, a very important part of our program.
Phil Donahue, married for a long time to actress Marlo Thomas, was 88 years old. The official kickoff to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago happening today. Kamala Harris will accept the nomination on Thursday. Tonight, President Biden will speak just a few weeks after stepping aside to allow Harris's campaign to move forward. In addition to 50,000 Democrats in town for the event, ABC's Jim Ryan says activists have also descended on Chicago.
Assuming that the names Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are on the ballot in November, many in the crowd of hundreds who marched in downtown Chicago Sunday plan to pick neither. Joan Wright says the Democrats and Republicans both have committed to supporting Israel in its fight against Hamas.
That money should be going instead towards things like Medicare for all, free education, things that working class people in this country desperately need.
Wright is supporting Green Party candidate Jill Stein, who's on the ballot in fewer than half the states. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Chicago.
The polls showing the race tightening significantly. Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance will be in Pennsylvania today campaigning separately. Another round of ceasefire talks beginning today in Israel. Antony Blinken back in the Middle East for them. You're listening to ABC News.
More kids headed back to school today. And, man, the number of things that schools are having to face these days, Debbie Dujanovic, seems to be growing, doesn't it?
Yeah, another week, another wave of back to school. So we'll be talking live to the superintendent of the Canyon School District. They head back this morning about this new Pew research that came out this year. And I think if you would have looked back maybe when I was in school, in high school in the 80s, a lot of teachers probably would have said the biggest concerns facing students were things like drug use, and alcohol use. And then in the 90s, it was probably going to lean in toward gangs and gang violence into the 2000s. Well, now the major concern among teachers for their students in this order are poverty, chronic absenteeism, and anxiety and depression. And these really top the charts. These are major concerns. Like 53% of teachers in this Pew Research survey say poverty is a major problem facing their students. And even in some of what it would be considered the wealthiest school districts, where maybe homes are selling for, $750,000 to $1 million, this is still a problem, including homelessness among our youth. So we'll be speaking live to the Canyon superintendent to talk to him about how they are addressing it in one of Utah's largest school districts.
All right, we'll look forward to the conversation as our back-to-school coverage continues all this week on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
8:19, traffic and weather together, brought to you by St. Clair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, slowdowns on North 15 continue to be an issue around the Bangor Highway exit in Draper. We've also got some slowing over on Bangor itself near the 21st South Freeway. But the backups we had on 201 heading through the construction at 3200 West have thinned out a bunch. Taking Foothill, some of the delay gone, but you're still seeing backups from about 2100 South's intersection all the way up to Sunnyside. Actually, really to a car away. Heather?
Well, most of the congestion we've had early on this morning is gone, although we still have a bit on 5600 South and Roy. That's all heading eastbound toward I-15. But you don't have any or much more congestion on US 89 at Harrison Boulevard or I-84. Southbound I-15 has your slowest traffic between the north interchange into downtown Salt Lake. Eric.
I-15 in Utah County plugging right along. It's a 28-minute drive from Payson to Point of the Mountain, getting over to the freeway. That's more of an issue on Pioneer Crossing this morning, coming away from Saratoga Springs from Redwood Road over to American Fork, and 2100 North, your usual eastbound slowing from Redwood over to 2300 West. See the exciting new Bernina 990 at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George. Free embroidery software and extras valued over $4,000 with select machine purchases, featuring 1.9% financing for 48 months. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, starting out with some pop-up storms for today, 91 the high. For tomorrow, 96, partly cloudy. We'll go mostly sunny, 95 on your Wednesday. Thursday, mostly sunny, 92. We drop off Friday to 90 degrees, breezy and a chance for storms. We keep scattered storms in the forecast on Saturday, breezy, 83. We fall to 81 for a high on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
70 degrees with all that sunshine downtown, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Did you just get in the car and miss the traffic report? This happened to me, from time to time. And you think, doggone it, I just missed the report.
Do not fret.
Do not fret, because if you download the KSL News Radio app, yes, there is a separate app in addition to KSL.com and KSLTV.com and sports and all of that, weather. We have our own KSL News Radio app, and if you download that app, right at the bottom right of the app, you just hit traffic, and you can get the last traffic report. So not to fret. If you get in the car just a little bit after a traffic report, you can get the latest one right there on the app.
I actually listen into, he'll hate to hear this, but Boyd Matheson in the afternoon while I'm sitting in the sauna at the gym sometimes. That's a mental image nobody needed this morning, and I apologize. Coming up in just a minute, we'll see what's happening with Money News, so stay with us.
Power outages happen year-round, and they're always unexpected. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and some people have medical equipment that needs to stay on, or maybe you don't want the hundreds of dollars of food in the freezer to spoil. Regardless of the reasons, Any Hour Services can help with a backup generator. Now, a lot of people think that backup generators cost thousands of dollars, but we have packages that'll run the essentials and start at less than $2,500. That includes the generator, the connections from the generator to the house, and the installation. We also carry and install larger generators that can run the whole house and kick on automatically when the power goes out. Of course, those cost more, but if you call right now, you can save $1,000 on any standby generator purchase over 9,000 watts. A licensed electrician from Any Hour Services will walk you through the process and show you what options are available. And if you need it, we have flexible financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. To schedule a free estimate, call Any Hour Services today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Discover the best of senior living at Trio Orem and Trio South Ogden. Today's older adults aren't wrapping up their life's journey, they're seeking a new one. And Trio Independent Living is here to help them do just that. With a smart, modern, and connected lifestyle, residents cultivate relationships and maximize independence through signature programs like Prime Fit Wellness that bring living well and well-being to life. Welcome to the new age of senior living. Schedule your visit at leisurecare.com/Utah today.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new windows but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Look no further than Peach Windows. You know at Peach, they are all about giving you options. Peach offers a wide selection of wood windows, sleek modern black metal frames, European tilt and turn windows, plus much, much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
Dave and Dujanovic. New school year, new approach to safety. Teachers now wearing panic buttons in case of an emergency. But it's the price tag to taxpayers that caught my attention. Let's talk about it today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken nuggets and tenders are being recalled after customers reported finding metal wire inside of them. Purdue Foods is offering full refunds to customers affected by the recall. No injuries have been reported so far.
Young Americans having a hard time being optimistic about their economic futures. 2/3 of Americans aged 18 to 34 say a top issue this election is the cost of living. That's according to an Ipsos poll.
Egg prices are rising again. They are 19.1% more expensive than they were this time last year. It is the third straight month they went up, according to the Consumer Price Index.
All right, let's take a look at the markets. They've gone mixed on us here. The NASDAQ now down, but only 5 points. The Dow, on the other hand, is up 117. That's 0.3% gain. And the S&P is in the green by 7 points.
It's getting better. Southbound I-15 coming out of downtown, but leading into it from Davis County is still slow. We'll check it all. Traffic and weather coming up next.
Imagine feeling confident every time you smile. At Stubbs Dental Implant Center, they understand that your smile is more than just teeth. It's a reflection of your inner beauty and strength. As Utah's Best of State winner for 2 consecutive years, they've helped countless women rediscover their radiance through dental implants. Their expert team is dedicated to changing not just your smile, but your entire life. Picture yourself laughing freely with friends, savoring your favorite foods without worry, and facing the world with renewed confidence. That's the transformative power of dental implants from Stubbs Dental. With convenient locations in Layton, Bountiful, Murray, and Lehigh, they're never far away. Don't let dental issues hold you back any longer. Eat, smile, and laugh again because you deserve it. Visit StubbsDental.com. That's StubbsDental.com.
Is your car dragging you under? If you're concerned about it, Dave and Debbie are talking about it.
The hidden cost of car ownership.
Thoughtful conversation and possible practical solutions.
This is going to hurt you, but it's a conversation we need to have.
Dave and Dujanovic, mornings at 9 on KSL News Radio.
Join me this Friday. I will be broadcasting live with KSL from NPS. I'll be there at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road from 3 to 5 Friday afternoon. NPSstore.com.
8:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon, Andy.
Tim, North 15 delays are gone from Midvale and Murray. We still have a little bit of slowing down around the Bangerter and 123rd South exits in Draper. Seeing some traffic stacking up at the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon through the road work, and then slowdowns on Foothill, more what we're used to between 21st South and 17th South to deal with. Heather?
We just have a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 between the North Interchange and downtown Salt Lake. It's only adding a minute or two to your commute out of Ogden. What's mostly congested are city streets now, and that had been around some school zones a little bit earlier in the drive. Right now, it's at the bigger intersections in Ogden, like US 89 and Harrison Boulevard, as well as 5600 South in Roy, heading eastbound toward the Hill Air Force Base. Eric?
Out of Tooele County, SR 36, not bad. Now we had some earlier slowing in Stansbury, but northbound now from Tooele up to I-80 looks good. Along the Wasatch back, US 40, no problems, no real major problems heading from Heber City up the hill to Jordanelle Reservoir and on to I-80, which, by the way, looks good through Pardleys Canyon this morning. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Weather forecast says today a high of 91, but we do have a 30% chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. 96 tomorrow. Right now it's 72 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
Kids in the Canyons and Murray City school districts are headed back to the classroom for their first day of school.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is at an elementary school in the Canyons district and begins our team coverage.
This is already the Canyon School District's 16th school year since they had their very first day back in 2009. District spokesperson Jeff Haney tells me this year they really want to address a problem we're seeing around the country: chronic absenteeism.
We really like having our kids in school. They learn when they're with their teachers, and we have all the support systems in place.
This is also the first year kindergartners will have their first day on the same day as the rest of the district's K-12 students. In all, Canyons is welcoming back about 33,000 kids today. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A new elementary school principal in Murray is championing greater inclusion for students with special needs. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera continues our team coverage.
Despite being her first year as principal of Viewmont Elementary, Leah Smith is diving into her role by actively meeting with parents and collecting feedback. Many parents of students with special needs have expressed concerns about their children not being fully included.
Also, our students with some more severe needs, and how do we incorporate them better into things like PE and STEM and our art cart, right? So we want them to have all of those experiences.
Smith believes upping parental involvement is key.
Parents have ideas about what's happening in the school, but they don't necessarily know what's happening in the schools, and the only way to know is to be in them.
Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Several other districts start school today, including Rich, Uinta, and Wasatch school districts.
Back to school isn't just hard on parents' wallets. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson tells us Utah teachers often spend hundreds of their own dollars on basic classroom needs.
American Federation of Teachers Utah President Brad Acey says he's known many teachers to even spend upwards of $1,000 on basics, and most of the time they have to rely on outside donations.
They hate to do that. They hate sending out those lists and asking for contributions like tissues, basic things in the classroom, pencils, pens. It's awful for us to have to go out and ask parents, because we know right now with the economy, everyone is stretched to their limits.
School funding is mostly spent on things like salaries and building maintenance. It usually runs out before it makes it down to the classroom level. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Nearly half the teachers in the Weber School District will have wearable panic alarms this year. Lane Finley from the Weber School District says they can use the devices to call the local dispatch for emergencies, and they can also be programmed to call school administrators or school resource officers.
To give teachers, educators, a device that they can immediately activate and get help on the way, I think that's very reassuring and comforting.
Finley says about 45% of their teachers have these devices so far, but it will take time to get the funding to equip all of them. A state law that went into effect earlier this year requires all schools to get wearable panic alarms, but no deadline for implementation has been set.
Now our top national stories this hour. ABC News Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein gives us a little preview of the DNC.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz barnstorming critical Pennsylvania. Sunday, they're kind of the last burst of campaigning from over the weekend. Then we come right into tonight where the capstone speech is going to be President Biden himself.
Former President Donald Trump will be busy this week campaigning in battleground states.
Pioneering TV talk show host Phil Donahue has died. Donahue was the first to incorporate audience participation in a talk show. Remember how he used to run up into the I'm going to get to this person over here, and he's stretching his arm out.
And sometimes he'd just hand him the microphone and let him go.
Let him go for it. The decision set the Phil Donahue show apart from other 1960s interview shows and influenced a format that made household names out of Oprah Winfrey, Montel Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, and many others. He took callers too. He'd say, "Caller, you're on the air."
Yeah.
I called his show once. They were talking about the anonymity of donors, of organ donors, of even sperm donors, and how people wouldn't donate if they thought you could get access to their names. And I called him to tell him, as the daughter of a woman who had a kidney transplant, I wanted him to know, I wished I could just thank that family. I can never know who that person was.
And you actually got through.
And it got through.
Wow.
Yeah.
He did his show here in Salt Lake City on at least one occasion that I remember. And it was a big deal because he had such a following here and obviously everywhere with the success of his program.
He was 88 years old.
Yeah. All right, let's get a look at First Look Traffic and get back over to the traffic center with Andy.
Tim, the things have calmed down. Now that we don't have any new crashes, it's amazing how much better traffic seems to be handling things. We've got a little bit of slowing in a couple of spots heading towards Salt Lake on I-15. Foothill's still a bit backed up, although not as bad as it was at its peak. And some road work really backing you up at mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon. A lot of slowing in Lehigh, trying to get over to the freeway from Redwood Road on both 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A major cleanup had to take place in Spanish Fork Canyon last night after two semi-trucks collided, spilling thousands of gallons of fuel.
Sunday afternoon, a rolling semi hit a Maverick fuel truck. The side of the fuel tank was ripped open, spilling 6,000 gallons of gas all over the highway. One of the drivers was taken to the hospital with some minor injuries. So far, we don't know which driver it was. Both directions of Highway 6 were closed and a hazmat team called in to clean the road. The canyon was closed for 5 hours. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Plenty of us grab a caffeinated drink to help wake up in the morning, but a new study says too much caffeine could lead to heart disease.
Drinking 400 milligrams of caffeine each day affects heart rate and blood pressure. That's the same as 2 energy drinks, 4 cups of coffee, or 10 cans of soda. Researchers from the Zydus Medical College and Hospital in India looked at how drinks like coffee, tea, sodas, and energy drinks affected the heart after exercise, finding people who drink 400 milligrams of caffeine a day had a higher heart rate and blood pressure, even 5 minutes after exercise. The study shows people drinking this much caffeine also have an increased risk of heart disease. Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
The former NFL player at the center of the 2009 Oscar-nominated movie The Blind Side is explaining why he filed a lawsuit against the family who took him in. Michael Orr says his vulnerability at the time allowed the family to take advantage of him. Details from ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
He alleges the Tuohys took advantage of him, depriving him of millions. At the age of 18, Orr says he thought he was signing adoption papers, but it ended up being a conservatorship, allowing the Tuohys to take advantage of his finances for nearly 20 years.
The Tuohys are denying any wrongdoing.
Getting news now or word of a southbound crash in Provo on I-15, but evidently not causing any delays, at least so far. We'll check your traffic and weather together in 2 minutes.
Listen to KSL for news to get exactly what you want.
Stories about what's going to affect me.
Traffic. If I want to know now, I'll go to KSL Radio.
Hear the important stories, the stories that affect you.
On KSL News Radio.
15 years ago, we were adding on to our home, and so I convinced Sean we should update the kitchen.
We did some research, and we decided to go with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Their reputation was phenomenal. To design, do the construction, and the finish work, what we wanted was what we got from start to finish. So fast forward 15 years, our family's changed. We've gotten bigger.
There just wasn't the space in the kitchen anymore. People were banging into each other.
We decided 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Here's the problem. What are our solutions? Comparing working with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath 15 years ago Today, their ability to design what you want was the same.
Everything has been what I want.
The quality of 3-day kitchen and bath, I think, is phenomenal. The countertops and the cabinets that they use are great. They were just good guys doing good work.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-day kitchen and bath.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know, with all these kids that are going to be headed back home from school this afternoon and the threat of more showers, it'll be a good afternoon, as it always is, to tune in to Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. Be listening this afternoon at 3.
8:39 now. Traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back over to you, Andy.
And northbound 15, you've got some slowdowns coming up on Bangor Highway, as well as a little bit of delay at 53rd and 3300 South. I-80 all clear around the airport, but you've got some slowing on 201 around 7200 West. Heather?
We don't have any issues right now in Weber and Davis County as far as crashes are concerned, but you are going to see a bit of congestion on some of the streets like 5600 South and Roy, US 89 in South Ogden near Harrison Boulevard. But I-15, Legacy Parkway, and US 89 are traveling at speed heading south into Salt Lake. Eric?
Crash in Utah County, southbound I-15, just before the Center Street exit is coming out of the S-curves, but it is over on the right shoulder, and we're not seeing anybody really slow down as a result. Northbound I-15, you're holding steady at a normal rate of speed, 30 minutes from Santaquin to Point of the Mountain. Pioneer Crossing pretty slow, eastbound from Saratoga Springs, heading away from Redwood Road, past Saratoga Road, over to the freeway entrance in American Fork. Be prepared for a little extra time there. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit SuperiorWaterandAir.com. Superior Water and Air. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Monsoon moisture still in place today. We'll go for scattered thunderstorms by afternoon and evening, high of only 91. Overnight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 70. Into Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 96, but a slight chance for storms in the mountains. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Now we're starting to warm things up out there, 73 degrees.
Coming up in just a moment, we'll hear from the president of the American Federation of Teachers Utah Union about how teachers are having to get creative in some areas. More on that just ahead on KSL.
Stay with us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in, because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
Hi, Utah. This is Congressman Burgess Owens. My district office is here to help with federal agencies. Our team can be the bridge between you and the D.C. bureaucracy, ensuring your concerns are heard and addressed. Need help with Social Security, veterans benefits, or passports? Call 801-999-9801 or visit owens.house.gov. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Everyone knows Labor Day's the best time to buy a Bullfrog spa. Start fall off with a new hot tub or swim spa for relaxation, therapy, and family fun. Bullfrog Spa's patented jetpack therapy system makes it great with personalized jetpack massage options. Now through Labor Day, get up to $5,000 off MSRP, a free water care system upgrade, and special financing. Save even more on limited scratch and dent models from our factory. Don't miss Labor Day savings at your nearby Bullfrog Spa's factory store today.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
you may want to think twice before grabbing another caffeinated drink. A new study found drinking too much caffeine could increase your chances of heart problems. I'm KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson.
Second, Utah lawmakers have interim meetings this week, and there's talk about calling a special session to deal with ballot initiatives and abortion.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Most of our slowdowns on the west side have cleared up on Bangerter Highway, Mountain View Corridor, and I-15, just a couple of areas right now. Between the mountain to Bangerter is a pretty heavy stretch. Coming south out of Davis County, you're fine until you hit Salt Lake City, and then there's some slowing through Rose Park. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered storms in the forecast, then we get back to dry weather. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, sunny and 73 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
It's day one of the Democratic National Convention, and ABC News has continuing coverage.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Democratic National Convention kicks off in Chicago today. Tonight, President Biden will be delivering the keynote address just a few weeks after stepping aside and handing the nomination to Kamala Harris. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more.
This is going to be an emotional moment for him, also a chance for him to cement his legacy. This is likely the largest audience he's going to have as his now 50-plus year career in politics, begins to wind down. And the challenge then for Harris is to take that baton, run on her record with Biden, but also make clear what she would do differently and make this her own.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken back in Tel Aviv for more ceasefire talks, his 9th trip to the region since October 7th. Phil Donahue, whose pioneering daytime talk show helped launch the entire genre, has died. He was 88. His family says he passed away after a long illness. Phil Donahue was the first to incorporate a live audience and to encourage their participation in his show. His program ran for 26 years in syndication. This is ABC News.
Back to school. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Back to school isn't just hard on parents' wallets. Utah teachers often spend hundreds of their own dollars on basic classroom needs.
American Federation of Teachers Utah President Brad Acey says teachers have had to get creative and work hard to get everything their students need.
Oftentimes they'll be doing GoFundMe accounts or trying to find any type of grant they can. And some businesses and things like that will open it up for teachers. Target, places like that, or other businesses will open up for requests and for grant writing. Teachers have had to become master grant writers to get what they've needed in the classroom. And it takes a lot of time to write those grants, to reach out to find those programs. We're always constantly searching for ways to bring that right to the students directly.
Acey says teachers will ask parents for donations on their back-to-school list, but they often feel guilty. They know that everyone's feeling pinched right now.
Acey also points out in most other professions, the employer provides everything that employees need to do their jobs. He worries that this adds to people's choice not to become teachers.
This is why I believe we see a migration away from teaching and things like that. People want to teach. People want to be out there and want to teach the kids. It's very important to us, but we're seeing so many outside attacks on public education, on teachers, what they do, what they ask for, what's happening. It's difficult because it's become a political issue.
The good news is that this year, many teachers got a larger stipend that they usually get. I remember when my kids were in elementary school, every time we went to Costco, we'd get tissues for the teachers because they needed them, and the budget would run out.
Well, to that point, this is not a new problem.
No.
It may be a growing problem, but I grew up with a mom who was a teacher.
So you can relate.
And I know what she was, spending. And my guess is I probably didn't know all the money that she was spending, but I know that there was a significant amount out of her own pocket. Even after my dad had left us and was giving no support, my mom was still raising 4 kids and trying to make sure she had what she needed in the classroom.
Amazing.
So these things have always gone on. But it is something for all of us to be aware of. I flash back to a conversation we had with Julie at NPS where she talked about families and even neighborhoods that would get together and go shop for supplies at NPS and then distribute them to the classrooms of those families that had kids in the neighborhood.
How beautiful is that effort to get together as a community and support the teachers and the kids in your neighborhood?
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully it's something that parents, and I'm sure you are aware of today. If you have a teacher who's in need of just a few basic items, everybody can team up to make that a little easier on us all. That is the In-Depth this morning at 15:45, but at 8:49, starting to wind down this morning drive, or at least we hope so. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Andy's back in the traffic center.
Tim, traffic on I-15 looks much better now, other than a little stretch of slowing around the Bluffdale 14600 South exit. And if you're in Murray right now, 45th South up to 39th and 33rd is pretty heavy. Got a crash reported on State Street at about 700 South. Although I do see northbound State Street delays. They go even past 7th, 6th South up towards 400 South. Heather?
Not too many problems right now through Weber and Davis counties. Just a little bit of congestion in the typical areas like US 89 and Harrison Boulevard, as well as northbound I-15 now. As you move through the Clearfield area, a lot of that is due to construction. But city streets have most of the congestion right now in Clearfield and Roy. But you shouldn't have too many issues trying to get into downtown Salt Lake City. Eric?
We're looking pretty good in Utah County despite a couple of crashes. One southbound I-15 in Provo just before the Center Street exit. We've also got another one reported on Timpanogos Highway about a mile away from the freeway if you're heading from the freeway over into through Lehigh over to Highland. We aren't seeing any delays, so where we are seeing delays are eastbound in the typical spot 2100 north from Redwood Road over to I-15. See the exciting new Bernina 990 at Dave's Bernina in St. Provo and St. George. Free embroidery software and extras valued over $4,000 with select machine purchases, featuring 1.9% financing for 48 months. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast has a nice cooling trend. We'll start with some thunderstorms today, though, scattered in nature, and a high of 91. 96 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, could see a pop-up storm in the mountains. Mostly sunny on Wednesday, 95. 92 mostly sunny Thursday. Friday, returning to the region is a chance for storms, 90 degrees but breezy. We keep winds out of the south on Saturday, 83 the high, chance for storms. Then cooler, 81 on Sunday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 73 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Tomorrow morning, of course, we'll be talking about what takes place tonight at the Democratic National Convention. But Boyd Matheson popped in here earlier and gave us a little heads up on things to watch for and trends and what his expectations are. Just another reminder that every day, not just this week, but particularly through the November election, if you want to hear from a guy that's been back there and knows what the ins and outs of political parties are, you want to be listening to Inside Sources. He's here 1 to 3 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, here on KSL News Radio.
Hi, can I help you?
You don't recognize me?
You look familiar. Have we met?
I'm your property taxes.
Oh, sure. You've gotten bigger.
Guess what?
Come on. No, you can't just... Give me a break.
Rising property values in Utah have led to increased property taxes. Some are struggling due to those increases, but it's time for good news. AARP Utah is here to help. AARP Utah has made it the top priority to connect qualified Utahns to our state's Circuit Breaker program, which offers tax relief to renters and homeowners. If you're over 66 with a household income below $41,000, you might qualify to save up to $1,200 in property tax relief. Don't miss out. The deadline to apply for homeowners is September 1st. For more information and to see if you qualify for up to $1,200 in property tax relief, visit aarp.org/UT. That's aarp.org/UT.
Finish out the summer with Zero Res. Now that the kids are going back to school, it's time to freshen up those floors. The cleaning experts at Zero Res will provide a safe and effective cleaning for your carpets, upholstery, tile, air ducts, and more. Just check out Zero Res's 4.9-star Google rating. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $99, plus 20% off your air duct cleaning. Book online 24/7 at ZeroRes.com and mention that you want the KSL special. Spell it backward or forward, it's the right way to clean. Zero Res.
Need a ride? Call Utah Transit Authority's referral line. This dedicated phone number is a resource created specifically for individuals with disabilities, aging adults over the age of 60, and veterans who need temporary assistance finding specialized transportation solutions. Simply give us a call at 801-287-2870. Leave your name and phone number, and a UTA representative will get back to you soon. If you're facing ongoing day-to-day transportation challenges, the UTA referral line is here to help. From medical appointments to the grocery store, we're here to get you where you need to go. Please call 801-287-2870. This dedicated phone number is a resource created specifically for individuals with disabilities, aging adults over the age of 60, and veterans who need temporary assistance finding specialized transportation solutions. 801-287-2870. That's 801-287-2870.
Dave and Dujanovic. New school year, new approach to safety. Teachers now wearing panic buttons in case of an emergency. But it's the price tag to taxpayers that caught my attention. Let's talk about it today on Dave and Dujanovic.
One more look at Utah's money this morning, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Rivian is suspending production of its electric commercial delivery van due to a shortage of parts. Shares were down 4% following the news.
Goldman Sachs says the odds of the U.S. slipping into a recession are dropping. The investment bank lowered the chances from 25 to 20% following the release of the jobless claims and retail sales reports.
We talked about this last week, but there's more. Car insurance premiums are increasing. A recent report from Insurify shows that the cost have gone up 15%. Utah's rate expected to increase by 24% by the end of the year compared to the start of the year.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. And the Dow's back up there near 41,000 again. It's up 216 points. That's 0.5%. We're at 40,876. S&P's up 21. That's 0.4%. The NASDAQ is up 48. That's 0.25%.
Still have some crashes out there along the Wasatch Front, but the delay spots are because of normal congestion. We'll give it one more look with traffic and weather together.
We have some exciting